All right, I'm all over the place, so I just got back. Hello, Dingo. Paranoia. I'm a truth seeker, but I don't seek all truth. For example, some things aren't really meant for me, I guess. It's like personal issues. Personal issues aren't something that I delve into because it's none of my business. In most situations, not all. Really depends on what it's about. Hello. Let me put the link down. Starting slightly early today. I need to leave on time today because I've got many things I got to take care of. I've been freaking away. Mainly, definitely have to get this room clean because I need to get Angel in here because it's about to get really, really cold, and this is the only room that I have heat. And I don't think she's going to fare very well. Mal hasn't forgotten. Mal didn't know. Yeah, everything's good. Apparently, we're about to get hit by a massive storm tomorrow in the morning. And projections are there's a high likelihood that we're going to lose power for several days. I don't know how widespread it is. I think it's affecting like half of the United States. It's that big of a deal. We normally don't hear. This is a rare event. But at least in my area, they're calling for it to begin tomorrow morning. And they're telling everybody to prepare. I've half-assed prepared, which I may end up regretting. Yeah. The snow isn't so much the danger, but they're expecting ice, and all it takes is about an inch to an inch and a half of ice to drag down power lines. And they're expecting there's a high likelihood that's going to happen. That's what I did prepare with. I got a lot of canned beans. I did not get water, which I think I'll be fine as long as I drip. As long as my pipes don't freeze, I should be fine. Don't need power for that. Which I need to check and see how cold it's going to get tonight to see if I need to drip tonight. 37, 36, 35, 34, 32, 31, 30. Yeah, it's going to stay pretty warm tonight. If it stays this warm and doesn't drop to that cold, then we might just get a shitload of rain. That's the best case scenario in my view. There's not a whole lot of advantages, but there is one advantage, at least, to being vegan, and that is beans are your primary source of protein, and your body adapts to them. The more beans you eat, the less gas you get from them. It's not a massive difference, but it's something. It doesn't do to me what it does to like an omnivore, I guess. The body is remarkable at adapting. But hopefully it won't be that bad and power won't go out and all that good shit. It's only been a few years since we had that massive freaking hurricane. Last thing we need is another freaking big ass problem here. I think they're still freaking recuperating. An argument I can relate to and argue against. I watched a Alex O'Connor video recently that involved philosophy. Let me see if I can remember exactly what it was about. It was sort of interesting to me. It was an argument. I don't remember it exactly. No, I'm in North Carolina, but close. It was something like woke. Something about like the argument of why we feel something is wrong when there's not a logical reasoning, or at least we can't seem to find a logical reasoning for it. And that is one of the I'm going to butcher it because my memory sucks, but like one of the arguments was a woman is obsessed with getting attention. So she purposefully causes an issue during her pregnancy, knowing that it will make it more likely that her child will be in a wheelchair for the rest of their life. Is that wrong? Almost all of us will say yes. In fact, I feel it very strongly, and I still say it's wrong, even though I can't logically explain why. The reason why I can't logically explain why is because we like to think of things in terms of like, say you waited like a couple, you waited till it was a healthy, or you didn't do whatever caused it to be unable, I guess, and you had a healthy child instead. That child is not the same child as the child that would have been born handicapped. So in a way, this is subjective and dependent on the handicapped person in question, but I would say a majority would be thankful that they had a chance to exist, period. It would be an entirely different like combination of sperm and egg if anything had changed, like time or certain events, etc. So the problem philosophically here is what is wrong, because wrong sort of automatically implies that there's some wrong being done to someone. And there isn't in this case. At least I can't easily say why or how without just being feeling. Like I'm adamant that this is wrong for the woman to choose to have a fucked up pregnancy on purpose so that she can get more attention. But I don't know how to logically describe. I don't know if you would agree with this or not. Patrick, you are perpetually confused. It is a moral question, but morals are sort of propped up by wrongdoing of some kind or lack of wrongdoing. So if you can't point to wrong being committed against a person, can you say that it's wrong? I know what a pension is. We're not talking about anything involving that. So, and depending on how you look at it, you could be thankful, or at least the child in question could be thankful they had a chance to exist, because if those circumstances hadn't gone down the way they had, they would have never been born. It wouldn't be them, for lack of a better explanation. It's nothing to do with disability. The woman decided to have a child that was disabled for attention. That's the only reason. Well, that's subjective. I understand what you're saying, Dingo, but the woman in question, so I would say this kind of person is rare. And by the way, this isn't really important because we're kind of getting drowned into the weeds. The importance is this is just a story to illustrate this conundrum, this ethical dilemma, I guess, of like, is it wrong? And if it's wrong, can you logically explain why? I can't. I can't logically explain why it's wrong, but I still feel that it's wrong. Which is not normally the case. Normally, anything I feel, I can explain logically. Who are you, Chat Messiah? A fetus sort of is a parasite, like factually in a way. I think not even in a way. It's factually a parasite. Need to know who you are, Chat Messiah. Normally, if someone... Oh, okay.
Hey, dude. How you going?
How's it going?
Not bad, brother. Yeah, I've been bored with my name lately, so I was Cerebus and Andy's stream.
It's all good.
And that's from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And and I needed something a little bit more religious for a center-left atheist stream.
Gotcha. Mal, I have no problem adding you, but your video's on right now in case you didn't want that to be the case. You're not in the video, but it looks like your camera is on. Oh, wait. No, it's not. That's just your... Never mind. I'm adding you. That's just your AVI, I guess. It looked like a camera.
This is very dark-skinned there.
But I was glad that I watched that video because it's an interesting philosophical premise that I can't wrap my head around completely.
So can you reiterate the problem?
Okay, I'll try, but I'm very bad at it because my memory sucks. But essentially, a woman chooses to purposefully have a disabled child because she's addicted to attention, and she realizes that that will garner her a lot of attention.
Wow.
Almost all of us feel that that's wrong, including me. But can you logically explain why? Because wrong implies someone has been wronged. And in this case, no individual has been wronged because, again, if we were to say, like, if it's a healthy child instead, then, oh, that child it has that's a different child. That's not the same.
So is the attention applied for narcissistic, or is it to the benefit of the child?
So I don't know the answer to that, but I don't think that it's important for the question, because the reason why she decided to do it isn't really, it doesn't matter, because we still have the same problem of who has been wronged. And I can't answer that because
I don't see how any of them have been wronged.
So if no one has been wronged, why do we feel so strongly that it is wrong, that it's immoral that she did this? And I don't know.
I don't know.
I still feel it though, and I still think that it's wrong very fervently.
It feels a bit mad because we think that perhaps the woman is doing it selfishly.
Yes, and it is selfish, but she brought a child into this world that would have not existed if she hadn't have chosen to do that.
Yeah, and she might not have done it on a purely selfish reasons.
Right.
So
So if we're focused just on the morality of her choice, I maybe we could say that she's immoral, but there's still not an individual who has been wrong.
yeah, perhaps we would be immoral for not giving the attention,
Maybe.
because that would be to the detriment to the child.
True. And so it goes back, it's complicated because like there was a politician, according to Alex O'Connor, that made a statement that we should not have children before a certain age because research shows that before a certain age, they have encounter more hardship. They're more likely to be disabled, all sorts of different things. And then someone that was a veteran got pissed off and wrote to that politician and said, so you're saying that I shouldn't have been born? Because they were one of those people. And they're saying that, you know what? Yes, I had a harder time than your average person, having been born like from a teenage mother or whatever. But I overcame it, and I think that I have a very fruitful, happy life right now.
So perhaps that the fact that the veteran had a harder life and overcame it, etc., is because they were in a position to do so. Many other children wouldn't be.
True, very true.
My kids are really sick, man. They can do the best graffiti that I've ever seen. It's sick, brother. So I had to get that out there.
Sick graffiti.
Sick, man. It's sick.
So are they using shit or something that is?
No. It's still chalk, mate.
Vomit, yeah.
And crayon.
No, I'm saying like in a different scenario, the veteran may well be right in his situation, in his circumstance. You know what I'm talking about, Trobs. But what if I take that same veteran and put him in a different country, different environment? Are we still talking that he's still doing great?
Well, it's subjective because it depends on the individual question. So the problem is we're being very black or white, or at least the politician was. And by the way, this is essentially eugenics. It's saying that you should only give birth in very specific situations.
Yeah.
And that is eugenics. That is essentially.
I agree. Yeah.
So
that's selective breeding.
But that is eugenics.
eugenics.
We went over that last time.
But the eugenics is the more negative theme side of selective breeding. But
no,
that's selective breeding.
So look, eugenics being this negative thing is conditioning. That's not factual. That's not objective. That's because of what we attach. That's because of what we attach to the word.
Yeah,
when we hear the word, we go. We looked it up.
There's a distinct difference. Tell me what the distinct difference is.
We looked it up. We looked it up last time, if you remember, and it's the same thing. There is no distinct difference. In fact, it doesn't require what we feel it requires.
All good.
Well,
like we feel that it requires. What?
We use selective breeding in farming to get the best traits out of the animals.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not the issue though. The issue is certain. There's how similar it is to eugenics and how dissimilar it is, and
we can look it up again.
Yeah,
eugenics is more of.
It is right, man. It's just there is a distinction, and I don't.
Do you apply your moral standards? Do you apply your moral standards to wheat?
I don't.
No,
personally.
Eugenics, yeah.
It is, and so that's kind of the point, is that we assign weight to it due to how the word has been used and associated in the past. We tend to lump it together with like Nazi ideology, but that's not what it means. That's just how it's been used.
To deep dive on that specific thing, and you're right. You did it last week. I'm not. You're right. It's very, very, very fucking similar, and that's why it's hard for.
But so to be fair, that's what language is. So the association we have with the word eugenics is what eugenics sort of means now, because definitions change according to social shit. So in a way,
right. But there's a
you're right.
rise in radicalization, and you must have seen that, right?
Yes.
And with that radicalization has come racism, and it is being cussed and put down in different terms, from nationalizing to whatever, from people trying to get out of them being perceived as racist or not. They have their different terms, right? But there's definitely a rise.
I agree. So
see it,
factually and objectively, it's essentially the same thing as selective breeding. However, I think that it's useful, as far as utility goes, to not use that word because of the association we've attached to it. So it's more useful to say selective breeding for like what I'm talking about, and only use eugenics for like the more nefarious shit. I'm kind of agreeing with that, because utility wise, it makes more sense, because then we can actually understand what the fuck we're talking about. Otherwise, we're just going to be confused.
Sucks when half your audience goes, "No, I disagree with it," when it suits them, just to fucking make their
big proponent of
fucking
you mentioned eugenics. People get emotional.
Exactly.
Which is why I agree. Because of that, we should reserve the word only for the nefarious shit.
Yeah, it's one of the few words that gets me emotional.
And that's
I obviously agree, Melody.
Eugenics used to say like the size of your skull determined if you're smart or not and shit like that. Like they thought the bigger your
I
head,
just watched the Django Unchanged where fucking DiCaprio smashes the back of the guy's skull.
Dude, that was a really good movie.
Django Unchained's a really good film.
I love DiCaprio in that video, and by the way, he was very uncomfortable in that role, but he did a very good job.
Jamie Foxx has told him to go with it.
Yeah, he did a very good job of portraying that role.
What was that?
Django Unchained.
Oh yes.
Leonardo DiCaprio, he was awesome in that role.
I like that the bounty hunter guy, the old guy.
Neither was
Jackson. Fucking
Jackson hated his role.
From fucking Inglourious Bastards. He was fucking great as the main guy. I just like him as an actor. And
Jackson hated his role in that Django movie.
Who?
Samuel Jackson, wasn't it?
Oh.
Hated his role.
Yes.
Yeah,
well,
he
still did it, and he actually coached DiCaprio along and like, get over your shit, dude. Like, how do you think I feel? I'm actually black. Like, get over your shit and do your role.
That's a good movie, that one.
Very good movie. And like, it's one of the few movies where you can watch it multiple times and you're going to pick up little things, like little bits that are important to the psychology of the movie. Over and over. It's such a movie.
And then after you watch the movie and you think about it and all these little bits, right? And you suddenly realize that you know fuck all, because it was much worse than that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I learn something new every time I watch it. It's so deep.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Tarantino thrown in the towel or something. He hasn't thrown out anything for a little bit.
That's true. But to be fair, he's one of those people that don't put out shit like crazy, because he puts so much thought into every single one.
Yeah. Hey, high kudos to him.
He should have got many awards, but he's like, it went forever before he got like that main actor award,
because
he did a lot of roles.
What about Reservoir Dogs, man? That movie must have cost like $30 in a shed hire and a fucking tuxedo or two. Like, what a brilliant movie, man. That's one of the cult classic best films of all time.
Well, Hollywood has a problem
less than $100.
But that's the thing. It's not all about money. It's about the thought put into it and the art.
Yeah, that's the skill of the director, hey?
Yes, but Hollywood is so stuck in their like era of like, we have eras and fads, and they get stuck on it, and they kind of fuck over really good producers because of that.
If you're not making a film about cancer, you're not going to win an Oscar.
Yep, that's kind of how it works. It's bullshit.
It's fucking, that's like a mathematician giving another mathematician a prize.
But you don't got to worry about the Nobel Peace because anybody can win that thing.
No, Trump can't.
Did you see all the pictures people are making now of like people giving them awards and then they're like having like a leotard and shit like that?
No, Trump can't win the Peace Prize.
How in the hell did he ever even think that he could convince people that he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize out of all of the wars he started? The shit
He's only
he's
started like
escalated.
4 or 5.
I know, but like he hasn't ended any.
Yeah, but it's only 4 or 5.
He said he ended 8 wars. Apparently, he's the greatest peacemaker ever.
I know, because he keeps claiming that he was involved in other people's de-escalations when they themselves say, "Dude, that motherfucker hadn't been involved in shit."
He contributed more to NATO than anybody else. You know.
While we were de-escalating this war over here, he was going broke in that casino over there.
Donnie Draft Dodger.
We were upset over here because he said our Afghanistan guys were stepped back from the front line in Afghanistan, in UK, and it was him that called us over to help him out.
It was Article 5.
He said the British guys were they weren't at the front. They kind of stepped back, you know. And then you see all these guys. Yeah, you see all these guys there now standing around going, "Well, what was I doing there then?" The guy's got no legs and one arm.
Australia, France, and England were like our main allies in that war, but we also had Danes and Turks and.
But they called the UK over as their main mob. Yeah.
Well, the UK, every NATO member pretty much helped after 9/11.
Yeah,
that was Article 5 of NATO, where when the Allies attack, they all go to war with them.
We got 400 odd people coming over in coffins, and he's going, people sat back, and the British guys, we didn't really need them, and we didn't ask for them, which he did. They didn't do much. What are all these dead guys doing there? What did the dead guys do? Did they die of fucking syphilis or what?
Do you see Trump's peace deal with Afghanistan? He's literally the one that made the peace deal with Afghanistan, and then Republicans raged against Biden for actually going through with it.
Yep.
It took 2 weeks for the Taliban to come back and take over.
Trump actually tried to invite the Taliban to the White House, but his top security people are like, no, Camp David.
Yeah.
But then he still brought the leader of ISIS into the fucking White House.
Because Trump doesn't have enemies. The enemies of America aren't his enemies because he sees them as potential sources of money. That's how he looks at everyone.
Today's terrorist is tomorrow's business partner.
Yeah, for Trump. Well, look at Saudi Arabia. It's one of his biggest ass kissers.
Well, the reason why is because if you're into making money through shady deals and shit, the people that are terrorists are the people that are more likely than anyone else to do the shit you want to make money. Those are his friends.
What the hell, Audie? I can hear your TV.
Sorry, brother. Yeah, walking around the house. Forgot to turn my mic off. Apologies.
But yeah, I think that's by design. It's why like he's friends with the most dictatorial type people because they think like him, and they also do self-benefit by fucking over other people.
Well, he's probably gone and met with a lot of them, and then they talk about all their power and everything, and he's like, "Yeah, I have that too. I'm, that whole narcissistic bullshit." Yeah.
Well, he went even farther than I thought. I thought he would at least hold a little back. He recently said the only thing that can stop me is not other militaries, not God, not nothing. The only thing that can stop me is my own morality. That is top level narcissism right there.
Mm-hmm. That's not bad. It's not bad. It's a good effort.
Damn.
It's an A-.
So I've said before, and I still believe Trump is stupid, but he's not as stupid as what he is currently portraying. And I hate to be conspiratorial, but I truly do believe, I've said it before, This is 100% by design, and they are purposefully crashing the U.S. economy so that they can swoop in and buy the whole fucking country for next to nothing.
Yep.
That's what's going on. And
Well,
they're succeeding so far.
Kinda in a way, but because the rich already own like 95% of stock, so therefore they're actually losing a lot of their own shit right now because
True.
their net value is based off their stock ownage.
True, but stocks are only a small portion of total economy. In fact, it usually only represents the elites, period. But if they own like literal land and everything, which will be next to nothing if we have a depression, then they have everything. They can control anything as far as prices go.
I don't know anything about this. Do you think you'd have a depression like the 1920 that kind of thing?
I don't know. I don't have much to compare it to, and I'm not a historian, so I'm not one to ask for that. I don't know.
I mean,
how many of you guys own your houses? Can I ask, please? Sorry, I don't mean to be too nosy, but
how many guys?
Out of you three or whatever, 4 or 5, whatever, own your houses. But before you answer, because I'm concerned because of the real threat of a World War III currently, and me having a mortgage is distinctly different than if I actually own my house. And I need to sort that out. Like for this reason, because I believe there's a 90% chance.
You're in Australia. You have nothing to worry about.
Based on what?
Nah, but even then, they're going to make us pay for it anyway.
No, I go.
It's going to be out of my price range, I reckon.
No, I go. You want you to have a 90% guess at the Third World War. I go sources, please. Because I
go what?
Sources.
You don't think so?
No.
Well, just because even
let's say he wants to go take over Greenland.
Having a flood here or having fires happen over a summer period made prices of my house go up 3 or 4 interest rate hikes.
Yes, of course, but the question
one of them is an hour of my pay.
But the claim is a 90% chance of World War III. That's a big claim.
No, that's my personal claim as well.
Yeah,
I get that, and I'm pushing that as my claim, not anywhere else.
I would say that even his thing about going to take over Greenland with military, he had to take back because his military are so stretched out all over places like Cuba and things like that. He can't do it. He just hasn't got it.
Well, he's digging his own grave. Like apparently France, Macron had something. I don't know all the details because I didn't dig into it, but he has some sort of back pocket like he can fuck over the United States economically, and he's had it for years and never used it, and he's thinking about it now because of the threat against Greenland. And
North
if he
Korea
does,
and China are just sitting there. They're doing nothing. They're waiting to see the results to then act.
True.
Which means they are in far better position. And they're sitting laughing and they're waiting to go through the spoils.
Well, China has been winning the whole damn time. Trump went, you know what? Trump went, you know what? We'll fuck them. We'll show them. Let's give them tariffs. What happened? They circumvented the trade routes, and actually they're making more money than they were with us. Now they're winning. And
they're selling bonds.
Canada doing that with their oil or something?
Yeah, now Canada's doing trade deals with China. That what you would never have seen that like 10 years ago. Now Trump is causing
everybody that China. Yep, everybody, exactly. Europe, everybody going to China now, just circumventing America.
Idiot.
Well, it doesn't help that Trump supporters are dumber than Trump. I mean,
true. So the conspiratorial part goes back again and goes, is he doing that purposefully? Does he have deals with China? Is he working with them? Because they're planning on destroying America anyway, at least from my vantage point. Is he trying to make more money by like, hey, look, you have the most to gain, China?
I know. I think that's it sounds a bit conspiratorial to me.
It is,
even though it's it does appear obvious. It's the obvious route, doesn't it? To be fair.
It is, and I admit it's conspiratorial, and I also admit I don't have any hard evidence to back it on. It just sounds like Trump. It sounds like something he would do.
Isn't that odd for people who would turn on people who are religious for going, well, I feel this is right, and yet you do that. It's the same, isn't it?
Well,
Of course.
Do you think it's the same?
If what you're pointing to in comparison is the feeling religiously compared to like my innate reaction with Trump, no, and the reason why is because my feelings of Trump are based on historical evidence of his actions.
Yeah, for sure. I'd have to concede that because I don't know. Yeah, sure.
Right, and I'm not an expert, but I have been a little short of obsessed with Trump for a long time because the whole phenomenon has been. It started out as interest. How are people so interested in this retard? Like, what is it that he's offering or bringing to the table that's making such a huge part of the population excited? I still don't have the answer.
Looking from the outside in, I still don't know.
I don't get it. It don't make sense.
Is it your education level? No, is it your education level?
It's a mix of many things. Lack of education. Like we have the highest literacy rate of any time in human history right now, but 40% of that people that can read, they have a grade school understanding, comprehension level of what they read.
Your education level.
Most like planet on the country currently, and I'm devastated. We're no longer in the top 10, and this is shocking beyond belief.
Yeah, because it's fucking hot there.
Yeah, fair enough. enough said. Whimpers, skulks.
47 degrees. 47 degrees in all these gardens.
I chose the wrong fucking day, didn't I? It's 40 degrees currently.
Fuck that.
And it's 12:04 p.m.
Hey,
how's that?
Climate change is a democratic hoax. It's not real. You're just
driest state, driest continent here. This is where it's happening, guys.
It's happening everywhere, but most people don't even work outside anymore. Most people are
it's a 1.5 degree average, Gads. That's nothing. That means nothing to most people.
We hit the 1.5 mark like
for fuck's sake, I'm dying, guys. Fuck you, Trump. Drill, baby, drill, motherfucker.
Wait till the power grid goes down.
Fucking nuclear. He's going nuclear after saying drill, baby, drill. So let's go green after you kill Australia.
Nobody's going to
fuck you, Trump, you asshole.
Nobody's going to nuke Australia.
No, you're going to let it burn fucking from the natural sun. There's no nuking needed.
Went on a tangent about windmills, but he doesn't understand turbines are not windmills. Like, he can't even bring into the difference between the two. We're not making flour, we're making electricity.
Well, they do windmills without the flour, really.
That's another thing where, again, yes, he's stupid, but I don't think he's that stupid. I think his feeling on windmills is just a placeholder for the truth, and that is he's bought off by big oil. He's buddies with the rich people, and that's why he says the shit he says.
Well, a lot of that comes from right-wing talking points too. Like they've been pushing the same because oil bought Fox Media off a long time ago. And
he must be true. He must be, as much as I think. I really don't want to say my thoughts on what this guy is like, but he must be saying something sensible in the background off mic.
No.
Well, I don't think he is. I think people feel that he's sensible, and that's the problem. And it goes back to what we talked about before.
What about the governments, the leaders of the country? You assume that they've got a certain level of savvy about them that they can see through the guy.
No.
Is it just bullying?
I think they don't. I think they don't care. They don't care. That all they care about is money, and he's bringing money and power to their class. And I think that even Democrats, I think that's why they're sitting on their laurels right now and not fighting like they could, because they don't care.
They're all insider trading, the whole lot of them.
And anyone insider trading related or whatever is going to make more money with someone like Trump because he's all about the elite and making more money.
So what happens when the Trump era is over? and it all goes tits up.
So this
And
is the
people
problem.
start
This is the
going,
problem. Everyone now, and this is how our society is built. We don't look at the distant future. We look at right now. We need to have more profit than our last quarter. That's even the government is a big company in that way.
Yeah.
They don't look past in the future. They don't care about what happens in 10 years. They care about right now. That's the
Each
problem.
quarter.
But they get pulled up. They'll get pulled up, surely.
Well, they already have plans too. They
Don't
want to
they think of
install
that?
Trump Jr. and then Barron Trump.
Yes, but they
Mhm.
think about themselves. And if they're making a bunch of boatload of money now by selling the country out and letting Trump do whatever he wants, who gives a fuck what happens in 10, 20 years? Because I've already made my money.
And
Like, they're good.
bunkers too. So if anything goes wrong, they think they're going to be safe hiding in a bunker.
That's more short-sighted than
Speak up,
listening to
guys.
Goo.
It very much is,
Sorry.
but I think that's what's going
Huh?
on.
Okay. Yeah, not my
People are
strong
stupid,
point.
Mal. That's just simple.
yeah.
Humans are stupid. That's
Yeah, I know that. I'm one of them. Duh.
but it's like, think how stupid the dumbest person you are, and like 50% are dumber than that person.
Yeah, 50% of the people are dumb. There are 50% below that. Yes. Yeah,
It's-
50% is.
I get into
yeah,
trouble
I know,
with these
I know.
claims,
I know.
just saying these things, saying
But-
exactly what Gad just said. But it's important that when we use the word, it's a bar that changes depending on who's saying it. Because what we mean when we say that, without having to say it implicitly, is that people are stupid in comparison to whatever we're talking about. Like maybe it's me, maybe it's talking about like politicians or a certain class. It's always in reference to something.
Like geopolitics. Most people have no idea what the fuck's going on in the world. They don't care. They care about, can they afford rent this month? Can they buy their groceries? Can they,
Yes, but again,
Yeah, I'll own up to that.
that goes back to the problem of everybody focused on the right now. Because if you don't look into the future, you don't realize that focusing on your personal, like, I need to make ends meet. I got to worry about getting gas and all that, whatever is going on in your average individual's life. Those bigger deals are going to hurt you far more over the next 10, 20, 30 years than whatever you're worried about right now. But people don't see that.
and noticing trends from the past
It's
and
not
applying them to the
perhaps-
future.
It's not perhaps that they don't see it. It's what can you do? And
I
at
can
the
agree with
moment,
that. I can agree
looking
with that.
10 years ahead, as you just said, I have
Yeah.
to put food on the table this week.
Well, so
Working in the factories with people, though, I see
I got
a level of,
I got two kids I'm going to feed this week. 10 years down the line, fuck that.
I see what you're saying, and I can agree to a certain extent, but I still see it as, yes, they feel that there's nothing they can do. And I feel like I'm one of these people that are far past, because I've been waiting for a long time for shit to change. And I am on board with immediate revolution and have been for a while. So what I'm waiting for is for enough other people to reach that point. Because if I jump in guns blazing now and we have like 0.5% of the country on board, we're going to get immediately shut the fuck down, locked up, maybe tortured. We're not even going to be a footnote in history. We're just going to be dead.
well, there's a new report
End of
out that
revolution.
Trump's people have been killing the immigrants they've been locking up in these prison camps. So
And
just like in Nazi Germany, the German people did not know what was going on in these camps. Like, they didn't know until after the war,
so
during the Holocaust.
my point, Melody, is that the greater good is not separate from putting food in your mouth. Your ability to get food later is determined by your actions now. If everyone goes, oh, Trump is completely destroying everything, who cares? I've got to worry about whatever, blah, blah, blah. And you don't see the big picture, you are at least in part responsible for what happens next.
It's just
Whether
like
you want to admit it or not.
a farmer got to look at the future prospects of what's going to happen, so his crop harvest and whatever can be fruitful or bad. You got to look at the optics.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of got to look ahead if you want food.
Yes. So again, it's not about greater good as you have to look at everybody else as more important than you, because even on a completely selfish level, you should be looking into the future, because you're fucked along with everyone else if no one does anything.
Yep.
That's
Which
where
people are
we're at
starting to
right
stand
now.
up. Like
I'm happy about that, but there's not enough. But we need
Not yet.
more people. And I'm ready. I've been ready. I will jump on it immediately, but we need enough people that we won't get stomped out immediately. And we're not there
They're still
yet.
too comfortable. They
I
haven't
agree.
lost enough. That's just.
I agree. No, you're right. Protest has been shown to be more effective than violence, but I think that we're a special sort of example because people are protesting almost every day. And what does Trump do? He doesn't give a fuck. In fact, he turns it on them and tries to act like they're out causing violence so then he can have an excuse to get more power. So yes, it's not going to work here. So we need, I hate to say it, we have to have violence. I don't see any other way around it because he's not going to stop.
It's going to French Revolution us at some point.
That's what we need. And so the benefit of the French Revolution is it wasn't just people having enough. It was the actual elite, the bourgeoisie, or however you pronounce it. They themselves fought for the rights of the working class. We don't have that here, and we're not going to have that. We're not going to have the rich go, well, we want to help you, or at least not enough to matter. Like we have celebrities
too. They brought the king out and just fucking beheaded him.
That's that, and people go, that's wrong that you want that. No, it's not, because the alternative is worse. We need that.
It sets an example too that future leaders for a time. No, this will only last about 3 generations before it goes back to how it was. But for about 3 generations after you do that, it puts people in power in fear of betraying the people.
Yes, and so what I saw as a little in, and I hate to say it, but I'm just going to be all completely honest. When Luigi Mangione did what he did, I saw a faint glimmer of hope. This might be the catalyst for like a class consciousness in this country. We might actually, it might ding in people's head and go, this is the answer. Did you see how many fucking elite people were fucking absolutely horrified and like afraid in that moment? We could have changed everything right then, but it didn't happen. I honestly think that's the only way. It may sound immoral, but I think when I look at morality, and I differ from some people, I include what you don't do, not just what you do, not just your actions, but when you could act and you decide not to. I include that in morality as well.
I think being ethical is everybody should do it.
I agree. But again, I also include what you don't do. And that goes into like, if you see a person drowning or whatever, you're not off the hook just because other people could have done it and they chose not to. You're still equally
I agree with that. Yes, of course,
immoral in my view.
Yeah.
But I see everything in that way. And that means like if you have like a small individual choice to not be part of like some fucked up shit or like a small cog in a greater machine, if you have the choice to not do it, even though you personally may benefit, you shouldn't. Not if you not doing so makes the potential for greater good in the future, which is how I generally see it. Like, it's why I have a problem with our system. It's why very soon, I've got maybe a week left before I have to decide what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to fucking suck it up just to survive and fucking be part of this shit ass fucking system.
Well, you better get applying now, because hell, it took me like a month or 2 to get mine. Jesus.
But everybody has to do that ethical thing.
Yes, but it's not equal, because not everyone has the same, and I'm not trying to toot my horn. What I'm trying to say is not everyone has the understanding of the extent at which their actions change things or don't, and the extent at which the system is the way it is and why it's the way it is. And if you have that, you can't get rid of that.
But they're an individual living in a static caravan on a poxy site somewhere.
Yes,
getting benefits.
Yes, but they don't. But they don't have the understanding of all of the details, and that matters, because when you have that, you can't pretend it's not there. And to me, that, at least if you're moral, some of this is intelligence, but there's another aspect. There's also morality. if you're highly intelligent and you understand everything that I just described, but you're immoral, you're going to see it as a window for your own benefit. You can work within that system in order to benefit yourself.
But the guy with 3 kids getting his benefits and stuff in his static caravan on some shitty car park site may actually, contrary to what you might think, know exactly what's going on, but is sitting there thinking in his torn t-shirt,
most of the poor people I know,
what the fuck can I do?
Most of the poor people I know don't know shit what's going on. They're worried about their own self-indulgence.
That's not my argument. My argument is,
I see your
even
point.
if they do know.
I see your point,
But most likely they don't know.
And you're probably right that they think that, but they're wrong. History shows that they're wrong. If enough people get pissed off, they can and will change everything. But the problem, yes, fear is the problem. And I think I can't get into how many because it's impossible to measure this. It's inside people's heads. But my assumption is, yes, people that you're describing exist, but I don't know how much. I don't know what percentage they are in comparison to the ignorant that I described. It's impossible. Like, I don't know the answer to that. But either way,
there's the ignorant and there's the willfully ignorant.
Right. But either way, it still pisses me off the same because they're fucking wrong. If they would quit being afraid, and because their fear is giving power to the people exploiting them, because fear causes you to freeze and do nothing. And that is what they want. If people continue to just go, oh, there's nothing I can do, that I just need to keep my head down and try to wait out the storm, so to speak, it's only going to get fucking worse. They're not going to quit. They're not going to suddenly develop a consciousness and go, we've done enough. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. But if you sit in, it's very difficult when they sit in there and they as they're on their benefits and this and that, the other, state this and state that, and they got nothing. The guy's got a spring vest and a pair of shorts and trainers on, and he's got 3 kids, and he's going, if I start doing something now, what happens to my kids? Who's going to go and do this?
I agree with you completely, and I think there's a large part of what you're describing is the problem, but I would change that and go look at it differently, dude. Like, you could be a person that has next to nothing and has 3 kids, and you look beyond just your kids and you look at the greater picture of how many people are being fucked right now because of the system, and people just going, I've got to keep my head down. There's
that's the hard part, isn't it?
Yes, it's
the hard part.
I
looking down the road and seeing how bad it is getting for those people down the road who are actually better off than you are.
I agree.
Going,
I agree.
We got to do something about
it. But I'm there. I'm there right now. I will die for this cause. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on a live stream. I will happily fucking die for the greater good. If my death, so the question is, can my death mean something? I don't want to just throw it fucking away. If I can die and somehow even make a tiny part of a change to move in the right direction, I will happily give it. But the problem is I don't know if that will happen or not, or maybe I'll just fucking die for nothing.
Martyr for the greater good.
But it's only if it is
made of all lean stuff.
Right. But it's entirely possible for a person to have the greatest intentions in the world and to die thinking they're dying for the greater good, but actually, one, change nothing, or even worse, make it worse than it actually was. It's possible. Yeah. That's the problem.
That's a disturbing thought, is to be that committed to it and think then that, hey, wait a minute, perhaps fuck all will change.
Yes,
that's not madness. That's just throwing away.
And well, that's where you need learning, you need knowledge, because the more knowledge you have, the better calculation you're able to make of the percentage chance that your action will change stuff for the better. You need knowledge. There's no shortcut.
Statistical science, that's called.
Essentially, yes, it's all mathematics, and I suck with them. But
I did that at uni. It's fun.
I can do the maths. I can't do anything else.
But you need knowledge for that. There's no substitute. There's no shortcut.
Like the insurance companies were factoring in climate change. I believe it was from 1967 onwards, maybe 1976. I might have the number.
Mhm.
the wrong way around because I'm fucked in the head like that. But yeah, it's like 50 years ago, right? And we know this and that. We know it because they've been like basically charging all of their customers for climate change.
There's also evidence in
percentage
terms
for
of
50 years.
documents that show that they knew about the detrimental effect that they were having on the climate even back then.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
knew it.
Yep.
But they want to melt the ice so they can get at more rare earths and more oil
Right,
and
so
natural gas.
on
they
the flip
want
side,
Because that's
yeah,
counterproductive.
on the flip
We
side,
can go nuclear.
your
there,
claim is
Jack.
invalid if it's an act of God.
Fucking as the virus that it is to humanity, man. It is truly a virus. And having fucking people say, I don't care what people believe, is fucking idiotic.
Well, the
since
problem
this belief
with
has done
that,
so much damage to
you're
humanity.
right. And the problem is that people have an implicit belief that your beliefs are like on an island and do nothing to affect anyone but the
No.
individual in question. And that is fucking wrong. We can prove, we can measure that your belief, like religion, for example, Christianity, just for one example, I'm not trying to harp on it, but just as an example, it causes you to believe certain things that affect every other avenue of your life and then affects everyone in your orbit, so to speak, in your family, especially.
That's
The
where it
only
becomes
thing
a
you're
trouble.
doing wrong here is you're harping on the people that think the same, brother.
Right. But no, I'm not harping on you. I'm just explaining how I
we
feel.
agree.
We
agree.
Right. I know. But so what I'm really trying to do is kind of venting about the people that think that way, that go, it's just religion. It doesn't affect anything else. It's just, it doesn't bother you. Why are you so concerned about it? Because you can measure that it does fucking affect everything in this world. It's
Well, if you look at some of the states in America that I'm looking at from an outside point of view now, so I'm no expert on this, but they want to put religious books next to the science books in schools. So and they really pressure for it all the time, and they have to fight against that all the time. So it does affect people. It affects if I was there, it would affect my 6-year-old kid.
It affects everyone.
Arguing with a genius is hard. Arguing with an idiot, winning an argument with an idiot is impossible.
You're right, and that's something that has taken me many years. Like, I still get the reflex to see my brain goes, you know what? If I present a logical counter argument that they can't defeat logically, they will, of course, change their mind. But I'm wrong. I'm wrong. It won't work.
Can't argue.
But I still feel I need to put in the good fight because of my kid.
I agree, and I see things the same way. And so I would still have my same beliefs even if I didn't have children, but I will say that they provide additional ammunition and motivation.
They provide the activism reason.
They are why I push so far as I do. I would still care, but I push as far as I do because I want my children to fucking have a chance in this world. And right now it's not looking good.
Yeah, that's a fair
I
point.
can see that it's like the I don't care what other people believe attitude. And then I've got kids, and that makes me go, nah, fucking oath, I care what people believe. Actually, you know, people that can be made to believe in absurdity can be made to do atrocity. So
I agree.
Fucking hell.
And while I still stand on agreeing with you on the religion and how it affects things, I also state that right now I don't give a fuck about it, and I'll explain why. Because there's bigger issues right now. When we have people that are divided among rich people, want people to be divided right now, and even along religious lines. It's like, I hate you just because you're religious. I hate you because you're not. We need to fucking come together.
It's just a different title for the shrouds that it's hidden under.
True, but there's a bigger problem, and that is rich people. That is the problem.
I apologize. I didn't mean to butt in. Please.
You're fine. You're
agreed.
You're fine, but I think that we need to temporarily. I think that we temporarily need to stop fucking bickering over all this other shit. We'll deal with it later. Right now, we need to get Republicans, Democrats, everybody in the whole fucking world. We need to get them together and to go, you know what? The biggest problem is the fucking wealthy people that have bought off our entire future.
I think it's a much harder problem as well.
Get it back to the majority, not the minority.
I think that's rich people versus a religious thing. I think the rich people is a much harder problem.
It is,
Well,
and
you're
it's
saying
also
that you
it's not,
don't have a cap now on capitalistic, like you say go for broke with no limit is a big issue with that specific topic though now. I agree with you by individual thing. I don't like the control over the individual, but there's a limit when it comes down to saving the planet. And one person doesn't need that much wealth or power.
Well,
or
it's not about
capitalism,
saving the
whatever, blah, blah,
planet.
blah.
The planet will be
Well,
here
the
regardless
planet-
if humans are or not.
Yeah,
It's
Planet
about
doesn't give
giving
a
it
shit.
to
the
human.
planet for us to be able to live on it
Yes.
comfortably. We shouldn't have to fucking deal with 10-degree higher temperatures as a majority of people.
Well,
Just
the
'cause
rich already
people
have
can
their
afford expensive
the
air
resort
conditioning.
homes and everything where they can go hide
Exactly.
away from all this. So
Yeah.
that
They
don't
don't
affect
give a
them.
fuck about temperature.
so.
But
Let me
we
take
do,
a
and we're
moment to
dying from
answer
it.
this question real
In
quick.
fact, a lot of us are dying from it too each year. Now.
The reason why I didn't answer is because there's never a point to break in, and I don't like interrupting people. But
You're
so,
good.
what actions am I contributing for change? So, I'm not doing as much as I would like, but that's because I know, at least likelihood wise, that most of the things that I can do will end in almost guaranteed disaster. They're not going to work. So, the one thing that I can do that I think most people need to do is use their voice in every way they possibly can.
Bringing up basically generating a whole fucking charity or something, or
No, charities are
get into
scams.
details, and I'm not pushing for you to do that. Yeah, but I'm not pushing for you to go into greater detail. But you said a greater, deeper business structured style thing to do. What you're suggesting, yeah?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail for this long, but any progress? Like, is that
so? Right now, I'm currently heading backward temporarily because I saved up enough, and I need a truck to complete my plans without going into detail. But when I lost my job, I had to.
I forgot about it.
I had to subsist on that money that I saved, which I'm still running on. And I'm taking a little break. Again, it's only another week or so. And then there's no telling how long it'll take for me to find something. But until that time, when I can get income again, I'm going to have to recoup my losses and get back to that point before I can open a business.
So what happens when you don't have income in America these days? Because of what I hear, that means you have absolutely no money whatsoever coming in, or you have some source of a welfare of some
I
kind.
have no money coming in, but I had sufficient funds saved up that it's not the end of the world, because I can honestly, I'm not
that to everybody over there, man. That's insane.
Yes, but I'm not a good example to what a normal person would do, because I'm not normal. I can survive on almost nothing.
And still not getting any fucking
He just
welfare
needs internet for fapping and tobacco for smoking.
Yeah.
Pretty much. and I could go without either of those. I would
90% of your people can't even afford rent.
Get the bank ready
because they're all fucked. Mate, they live off tips, for fuck's sake.
I know, and people here don't understand how fucked that really is. How, the concept,
pay the fucking employees, you stupid.
Exactly, the very concept of tips is fucked beyond belief. In most other countries,
thank you.
Get that.
I love how an American's saying this to me. You're fucking amazing.
Well,
bro.
the only reason I'm able to say that, you're right.
I've ever heard of.
And the only reason I'm able to see that is because I don't associate myself with the culture. I separate myself. I don't care about what culturally.
In my country, we just pay our fucking employees, dude.
We don't understand tips.
Well, that's all it is. Exactly.
The customer buys.
The only reason it exists is a scam.
Pay for the service.
It's the rich don't have to pay.
Exactly. That's the easiest way to say it. That's the reason why it exists. It's so that they don't have to pay their employees.
Middle class rich. It's the middle basic businesses here. This is your fucking McDonald's franchise level.
It's your
shit
Subways, your hair.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's both. It's both. There are some.
We live a tip. We live a tip if we think we've got nice service with a smile, and the young lady who has served us has got big tips. We don't do it because it's expected.
Everyone with big tits should get a tip.
I agree, and I
Mindset.
think we all agree. We're looking at it from different angles because the problem isn't tips as a
I
concept.
will
It's
polish
that
my tip beforehand. Just for,
the problem is that the whole
Mustard.
culture is being used to not pay employees so that they can circumvent that so that everyday
Yeah.
people can pay their wages for them. That's the
Well,
problem.
yeah,
That just
probably a
blows me
similar.
away.
Yeah.
They're getting out of wages.
Well, they
Uh-huh.
still
See,
get wages,
we
but it's
have
like $2.50 an hour plus
Exactly.
tips.
we have a
But
thing
then they
over here. I
whinge
don't know
about
whether
it
you have it over there.
afterwards.
I don't know whether you have it over there. We have a thing over here called the National Living Wage. My missus gets it, and she works in a supermarket and stuff.
That's what I was asking. Do they
You
get
have to
any
have
welfare
that.
We
now?
we
have
have
minimum
we have
wage.
that, but it's not enough. It's like we have to constantly fight for
$7.25.
anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
cool. But you do get
Our minimum wage
like
hasn't
what is
changed
so?
in
What's
like
that,
15
Trobes?
years.
30% of a living wage?
If
50%,
that, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like nothing.
I'm expecting it to be low.
It's
Yeah,
very.
yeah.
I can't give you a direct answer. I'm not good with like the norm. Like I am below the norm, so I don't have like a good platform to compare myself with average. So I don't
No,
know.
no, no, no. And I actually like the way you do what you do. You adjust it to the way you live your life, and your the amount that you earn fits with that, and you don't give a fuck. And good
Don't
on
live
you,
above your
and
means.
it all works for
Simple
you.
as
Well,
that.
yes,
Man, I
but
have absolutely no issues with what you do and what, mate. You still want to go ahead and fucking be better for the common good for people.
yes,
Fuck,
but
I don't give a
the
shit
biggest
about
thing,
how
the
you're
reason
pulling
why
that off.
I
It's
am
just
the way
based
I
on
am,
incentive alone.
yes, but
Huh?
the reason why I am the way I am is less to do with my character, more to do with the fact that I despise the system so much. I'm not going to be part of it. And so I've decided to cause myself to value other things as a way to just survive in the meantime because I'm not going to fucking be part of this shit. Because
Well, since hearing from you doing your stuff, my hours I've forcefully reduced it down to just the basics because of a similar realization of the mentality. Fuck, man, why am I doing this extra crap? I'm actually not doing it for me.
yeah,
There's stupid reasons to try to get ahead in ways that were only helping things that weren't.
that's
So anything
almost
that
everyone.
is,
That's
oh
fair.
yeah.
That's
So
almost
by
everyone.
reducing the hours of work is the method to help with the restoration of the mental health side of things.
I agree, but it's all
It's
subjective.
taking a long time,
From
but
my point of view, the one thing that can help the most people out is the realization that nothing is more important than time, including money.
yeah,
You can make
yeah.
more money. You can't make more time. It will never come back. And that
Yeah,
is
but they
why
would just turn around and say, I can't eat time.
say what?
They just turn around and say, I can't
Well,
eat time.
that is
Time
a
won't pay
valid
my bills.
that's a valid
You need-
point. So
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
change. Let me
Time to
change what I
eat.
said.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
change what I said. It's not money sucks. Who gives a fuck? It's the extent at which people want more, way beyond their actual needs. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they do. Yeah, yeah.
You got to buy a $250,000 house, $100,000 vehicle,
Yes.
just so you can impress the Joneses next door.
Especially in
I don't give a
America.
fuck
The
about the
people
Joneses.
the
Never
people
have.
that are poor in America in general, and yes, like really homeless people exist, but by and large, the people that are like, you know what, my life sucks, blah blah blah. They don't know what poor is. They don't have a fucking clue what it's like in like fucking Sudan. Like, if you would compare yourself to the bigger picture, not your country, but the entire fucking world, there's a good chance, especially if you're watching this, you have the fucking internet. You're privileged, whether you want to accept it or not.
Well,
you're privileged.
A lot of them do have internet now because cell phones and that kind of shit got into a lot of those places. But
that's true. That's a valid
point. We live
point.
in Appalachia, so I mean, Trubs, we see some of the pretty destitute poverty.
Yes.
I've seen some pretty bad shit.
I have, and I still stand by it exists, and it's far worse than it should be given the amount of money we have to fix the problem.
Yeah,
it's not because
trillion.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. There's poverty is relative anyway. None of us are working in a napkin in a lithium mine. You know, none of us. We're not, are we? Right. So we've got like kids in a lithium mine. We're not working there. We're better off than that. So we're all well off.
If we didn't have labor laws that stop children from working in these places, we would have those things. Only because of unions making laws where kids aren't allowed to work unless you have a work permit at 12 years old. I started working at 12. Work permit.
Yeah, sure. But it's a fact, though, isn't it? None of us are. We all go, I'm broke, I'm this. I turn around and go, my broadcast can't do this. My broadcast can't do that. Right?
Look at blood diamonds. 100 years of blood diamonds from the English diamond trade out of Africa after the English found tons of diamonds there.
Well, where do you think...
The English are the ones that funded a lot of that stuff in Africa.
Sure.
That's why it's still there.
What do you think all this rare earth stuff is? Where do you think they get that?
We've got rare
High
earth
tech?
that hangs
I don't think
over,
so.
Cell phone batteries. That's what
conveyors for
lithium's
rock
for.
crushing. It's what sucks the metals out of the rocks that we crush. It's a big slab of rare earth that's held about 12 inches over the rock crushing conveyors, and then it's got a perpendicular conveyor around this rare earth. This thing will... I had 2 chunks of it, and I had to take it back to the yard and put it in the ute, and it pinned my thumbs to the side of the ute, and because it's pinned both thumbs, I couldn't do a thing about it. I was trapped there by these 2 chunks of rare earth that were so magnetic to the steel of the ute that, I was pinned there in pain. The rare earth's quite impressive. But you've got like 20 different elements in the rare earth category.
Oh, yeah. It's all your platinum, lithium, rare magnets.
Anybody who thinks
it
they
ranges
broke,
from intense.
Anybody who thinks they broke just wants to Google a sulfur mine, hand cut sulfur from the side of a volcano. Just Google that and see how broke you think you are after seeing that. There's people having no clothes except a nappy. Hacking this stuff
we
out
have sulfur mines
hand.
here in PA. We have coal mines. Like PA has tons of coal mines. North Carolina should have probably coal mines too. West Virginia, like we have some pretty nasty shit. There's a town around here. It's called Shamokin. Literally, the streams run orange. You can't drink the water. The cancer rates are higher than any other place in Pennsylvania because mercury, lead, and all these other chemicals in the water.
So to quickly address Melody, again, I didn't even see it till now this time. But anyway, bring up your voice with no action. It means 0. That's subjective, and I disagree with you. Also, I'll go further into this in a minute. Expecting others to do this rather than you. No. The point that I made is that if I act now, I'm just going to go down and go down hard, and it will mean nothing. So, and secondly, my voice is an action. Like people have this tendency to separate words from action, but it is an action, and it's actually one of the only actions that is available to me. And I'll also state that's a hell of a lot better than doing absolutely nothing, which is what most people are doing right now.
I think words are the way it should be these days.
Well, it's at least something. Like yes,
I disagree with the guy going the violence route or something like that.
Well, I think that it's necessary, but yes, I could see the way of looking at it that I am waiting. Yes, that's true, but it's because there is no 0% chance of success right now. We need enough people to be able to succeed. Otherwise, it's all for nothing. Like
I don't think you're going to get that in somewhere like America. I really find that difficult to believe that you would get that kind of support in America, because I don't think Americans can think, fuck me, it's like living in Iran here.
I hate to say it, but you might be right. And if that's the case, there's no way forward. If Americans can't learn and go, this is what's going on, and this is what I need to do in order to keep it from getting worse, there we have no chance at all.
I think it's difficult. Partly because, as you say, your education level is not freaking great in these kind of situations.
On purpose.
As smart as some of you people are,
You're right. But one thing that could galvanize the entire nation is one individual with the right, percentage of character, motivation. If one person rallied people, and we had someone like Martin Luther King Jr. or something, it could change everything. But so far, no one's stepping up.
I made of Orleans, who the fuck went shot though?
That's true, and that's the problem. Is we're at that stage to where people are like realizing there's a problem.
Don't disagree with me. I'll fucking shoot you.
Well, you're right. And that's kind of probably more than likely what would happen if someone stood up right now and they haven't planned their actions out sufficiently. They're just going to get shut down and they're going to disappear because they threaten.
I think it would happen in the Western world, you know.
You're probably right. But I think that like we're at a point.
The thing is, in other countries, when you have places like Syria or Iran or those kind of places who want change of regime, etc., they've got America to help them. What the fuck are you going to do in America?
That's a good point.
Who's going to come and help you? NATO? I don't think so.
Well, NATO's turned on us. We have no allies anymore.
Right. So who's going to come and help you? It's
Nobody.
You people who generally, you know?
Well, not only that, but I look at it as, in a way, like I look at it from an outsider's perspective. Like if I came from Greenland, I look at it like it is it's our responsibility to deal with Trump because we are responsible for the motherfucker being there in the first place, and he's destroying shit all around the world. It's up to us. We can't rely on like, hey, EU, come bail us out over here. No, we did it. It's our fucking responsibility.
It'll be okay. He won't take on NATO and blah, 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 blah. That shouldn't be a question anyway. It should be the Americans that sort it out.
Well, I know, but Americans in general don't see it that way. They or at least they're not.
Let me put this on just as a little aside, as a positive for Americans. Right? Americans are the best people in the world, the greatest people in the world in a disaster situation. And they will pump money and resources into a disaster all day, every day. Fucking brilliant. And they're also the best in the world at telling you how much of the best in the world they are.
That is true. And both of those are pretty accurate. I wouldn't say we're the best in the world at coming together and like during disasters, but we're definitely up there. And yes, you're right. On average, we're very entitled and very arrogant, haughty, if you will. And part of that, and Trump's actions aside, even before Trump, we've had a sort of low-key negative feedback across the world because of our behavior, because of the way we are in general. Capitalism. And no one made us this way. Like an individual didn't cause us. Our circumstances attributed to an extent, but we didn't have to be pieces of shit that are like, fuck everybody else. America. Like no one forced people to do that. So
American.
No, I think America quietly took on the position of being a policeman, didn't they? No? We are the guys who keep things in order, blah, 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 because we got the biggest guns. We got the most influence as well, you know, not just the biggest guns. But I think that kind of is kind of crept up from there.
Well, the Cold War.
It's got worse and worse and worse. And
Cold
now
War was all about who had the most guns and who was the biggest.
Yes, but it's not just that. It's influence as well, political influence and this and that, resources.
Yes.
I just think that it's crept up from there to we are now the big guy. Do what we say or fuck you.
Well, China's going to take that role here.
It's a bit like the policeman who's willing to shoot somebody because they disobeyed him, rather than because they did something. You know what I'm getting at, right? Mm-hmm. It's that kind of thing, and not suffering the consequences of it.
I mean, yes. England's done a lot of fucked up shit throughout history. Like they
fucked up a lot of nations. Forgetting this, I'm talking about now. Yeah.
That's true. And that's true. But we are like, if you look at us and like, we like to think, hey, this is about us. This is about right now, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at things, we're a tiny speck in history and we're just the latest, greatest. And we're soon to be nothing if everything keeps happening the way it is. And it looks like it will. But like, we're just the next Britain. We're the next Rome. And we're about to fall, and this is just history repeating itself over and over again.
It's okay. Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, England was a vast empire that ruled over the world from America to China.
I think we still have about a third of it.
I will
No,
say one
you
thing
lost
though,
most of it.
like in history, even when imperialism was just absolutely terrible, there was at least the foresight to attempt to bullshit people and act like shit was for a greater good. Right now, it's just blind. It's like right out in the open. Like Trump is such an idiot. He's just like, you know what? We're going to take their oil. We're just going to take their oil. You know what? Greenland? We're just going to take Greenland. He's not smart enough to even
It's
come
a big
up with
chunk of ice.
like he can't come up with like a backdoor excuse to convince people to get people on board with it. Like he's just straight up. He's such a
Stop
fucking
Well,
has
idiot.
yellow cake uranium. He needs aluminum tubes.
Yeah, the problem is the problem, Gadwin, is when he wants to go and take Greenland, he keeps calling it Iceland.
Mm-hmm. Yes, in the Davos thing.
What the fuck's that all about?
Well, they think that
Get
Greenland's
the
actually
country
a
right if
fucking
you're going to invade
iceberg.
it. Yeah.
Like they think Greenland's an iceberg. Like that's how fucking dense these people are. It's land covered in ice,
Yeah.
and it's not even near as big as they think it is. It's like how when you fold a round globe into a flat map, it distorts a lot of things. Like the
There are
structure looks
about
huge.
approximately 60,000 people there. My town is that big.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and it's just for rare earths. And
Are we
what
going to invade? Are we going to use weapons? Let me think. Military power.
Well-
My town, mind.
they want the
In the
rare
South
earth
Wales and
for the
UK.
military. So the
South-
rare earths that they're after are for military things like missiles and
Did
Well,
you
technology.
guys, this is slightly related. Did you guys hear, and I haven't kept up with much news lately, but Trump literally started an organization, Pieces in the Name, to where you literally pay like $1 billion or some shit to be part of this, to act like you're doing shit and for peace. Like,
It's another grift.
yeah, if it were actually about peace, you wouldn't be paying money to fucking get
What-
into the damn
Did
club.
you see his $1 million visa he put out? His
No.
$1 million visa gold card. You can pay $1 million now and get a gold visa into America.
So is America a supermarket now, or
It's
What-
always kind of been a supermarket. Like everything has been like all about business. Everything is quid
It is a
pro
business.
quo.
I get that? Yeah, it is a business, isn't it? It's
He's
weird.
taken a lot of that money from Venezuela and it's now in a secret bank account in the UAE. He's literally
Well-
hoarding money from.
I would say that's conspiracy, because if it was a secret bank account, you wouldn't know, would you?
Well, it's not. Well, it was secret.
Ah,
And let's
okay.
just say it was a secret.
You know what I
bank
mean, Gav? Yeah.
So
Like-
it's not absolutely proven, but there's evidence to suggest that he has dealings and then the money went into account, and we can't explain otherwise why that happened. So it leads us to ascertain most likely he's doing what Trump does. He's hoarding wealth and keeping it from people just so he can bolster himself. And that's all he does, really. Like it's not far-fetched to see it, because that's all
So
he
can
does.
I ask a serious question now, looking at it from the outside in? Now, my government's not fucking greatly, but at least they make the attempt to do what they think is they're doing the best for the country. The
Brexit.
people can fuck off, but they think they're doing the best for the country.
Right?
So when it comes to what is the matter with you people?
I don't know. I'm
It's
still
not
trying to
just-
figure it
It's
out.
not just the president; it's all the guys around him. It's like
Exactly.
a fucking mafia.
And the thing is, as much as I hate Trump, Trump is just a placeholder, a symbol. He is
Okay.
a tiny nothing compared to what has bubbled that made him rise in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have the answer. I wish I did. But there's something going on and has been going on for a while that has led to this. If it wasn't Trump, it would be someone else doing the same shit, in my opinion. We need to figure out the root cause of whatever the fuck is causing
It's not
people-
immigration, is it?
I don't think so. I think immigration is like a
I think a
buzzword.
country needs immigration, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, from all the metrics we have, trying to look at it objectively and separate my political views, from most of the metrics we have, they are only a benefit to society.
Yeah, of course.
But fear mongering has caused people look for an out. When people are angry, like they're having a rough time, which almost everybody in America is, they look
Right.
for an out. And when they're given a fear mongering, like, oh, immigrants are to blame, they jump on it because it's someone they can point their finger to for their problems. The issue is that's not the real problem.
So Is it all this the internet, the dumbing down of critical thinking?
I think it's part of it, but I don't think there's
That's
one
right.
just
answer.
creeping up and creeping up.
I think it's part of it. I think there's a lot of answers to that. I think that's a huge multi-dimensional deal, and like people have changed for various reasons. I think COVID had a big impact on everything.
The Dunning-Kruger effect's a big one, and the internet's like made everybody think there's some kind of genius in all these fucking topics, and they don't know the first steps in anything.
That is true. And so, well, one thing that I've noticed, and this don't apply across the board because personality is also a factor, but in general, most high IQ people that I've met are actually more aware than anyone else of how ignorant they are in terms of what they could know. Meaning they're far more they have more humility.
I was going to say, well, I definitely one of those, but then that would be.
When I was a kid,
even though it sounds like I'm there bragging about how right I am all the time, I actually go with the mentality that's trying to prove myself wrong as I go with my research, which is trying to falsify. And it's when I can't prove myself wrong, that's the stuff that I'm pushing as, well, I'm right with this stuff.
Right.
And that's why I do it, because I want to find out other people going, no, well, that doesn't work because of this. And then that gives me another wrong to go.
I do the same thing. And the important thing is that you are not focused on just being right, because if you are, you won't see if other people disprove you. Like your brain will protect itself.
Well, it's all the older generation.
Me always being a snob and up myself. Yeah.
I would go a slightly different route and say that, look, you can argue with me all you like, you can disagree with me, you can show me your facts and your reasons for it, but if you do disagree, just know you're wrong.
So it depends on I am that way about certain things, especially about things that I call, quote, closed topics, like flat earth. It's done, it's over. But like you can,
I know.
And I still have a problem with this. This is a fault of my own character. I can't help but be fucking angry about that shit, because the principle, my values are, if I give you logic and you can't disprove it, then you're going to change your mind. But that's not reality. These people are immune to logic, but it just makes me so mad that I can't get through to people.
Oddly enough, ironically, right, when it comes to logic, they've probably been vaccinated.
I try my best to see humor in it, and I can sometimes, but sometimes I'm just so angry. It makes me like a misanthrope, because there's so many of them. It's just
I can see humor in most things, but
I try.
Those people I just laugh at and walk away. Just why bother? It doesn't matter how you can explain it in 2-syllable words to them and no mathematics.
It won't matter.
And it would not.
You're right.
Move them an iota.
And that's what I'm trying. So I have cognitive dissonance. I have my impulse, my intuitive, like, be logical and that will win them over. And then I have reality that don't work. So they're still fighting with each other. I am not at the point yet to where I'm comfortable with, like, okay, I've got to learn that there's no point. I'm not there yet. So I'm still fighting it.
As an ex-educator, I found that point often. But as an educator, I'm expected to carry on anyway. So it's like, no, you have to just find another way. You can find as many ways as you like sometimes. Some people are as thick as shit, and that's the end of it.
I think there is an answer. We have a blanket statement of there's nothing you can do, but I think that's not true. There is something we can do, but it's hard. It's not easy. It's not like logic. It's like we have to find the sense of the part of them that assigns identity to it, which is what causes them to think emotionally and protect it at all costs. If you can find the root and somehow circumvent it or replace it with something else, then you can allow logic to win. But it's hard.
A little bit like not the same, but a little bit like getting like a youngster or something who's just not learning. They're just not. The idea is to, as you said, get them to identify what they like, what they enjoy. Perhaps they enjoy playing football or play a game, and just a simple thing like that. It's not complicated stuff, but you get to add that to what you're trying to teach them.
Yes, and
And
I think there's one thing philosophically that we could teach people. I'm not going to say it's easy because it's not, but if we could do this one thing, everything else would fall into place. And that is give people the value, the sense of why it's important for objective truth. And if they have that, everything else is like dominoes, because all of their illogical beliefs will get toppled because they will themselves, you won't have to teach them. They will themselves teach themselves.
Oh, they will, yes.
By that foundation. If you can get people to give a fuck about truth, that is all. That is everything.
Well,
the problem is I can't figure out how to do that.
My experience lately is people aren't into deep conversations or anything like that. They just want novel experiences. Like there's a girl at work I try to explain things to, and she's more interested in playing this stupid mobile game and not listening to anything. Like
they want the latest TikTok dance.
It's because
they're trend.
I
don't want anything. So you click on it. It's a bit like Googling something. You've all seen this, right? Gadwin's an expert Googler. He goes on, he gets answers, he goes and looks for this, he digs a bit deeper, he gets a bit more. Yeah. But most people go on there and they go, well, just Google it. So they Google it, they get the answer, it comes up in a little box at the top of the page, they read it and they move on. Because that's the answer to them. There is no more.
Yes, but what I said would be a solution for even that, because if they care about truth, they're not going to be, that's not going to be sufficient for them.
No.
They won't be satisfied.
Yeah, because I've heard Gadwin say before, I've done it, I'm trained in research and stuff. But Gadwin has said it. When you look there, you can get it so that it gives you references and resources to go and look up afterwards. Do you really think that 95% of people are going to click on one of them?
No.
Oh, no.
No, it's not going to happen.
They're going to move on.
They're going to tell their mates. They're going to get a few likes and clicks and thank you very much. And they're going to move on.
People like Maxie are opposed to even using Google. Like she refuses to even look up anything. She thinks she's right, regardless of what truth actually is.
And again, if you like her, just as an example, if you convince her to value truth above all the other shit that she values, that will change.
Yeah.
The problem is I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to convince people that truth matters. And the problem is a lot of people already think that truth does matter, but they don't believe
demonstrate it. But that's their truth.
That's true, and that's very
unfortunately. Yeah, unfortunately. So you have to demonstrate it. That's the only way to do it.
Arguing with my religious family for years got me nowhere, because I could literally look shit up and they would be like, nah, the Bible says this.
Because truth is not their end all be all. Their feelings are. I hate to say this because religious people will be offended, but it's from my experience true. It's not factually true. I don't have any like evidence, but I believe that all of it, and you can like in science, what we do is we make predictions and you can try to disprove it and you can run simulations and go, this is what we'd expect to see, etc. And you'll see that what I'm saying is true. Set up your own experiment. And that is, these people are driven by emotion. They don't care about truth. And you can see that in all of their actions and their words.
You could show them it's true. You can just say, no, it's not. It's, like you were saying, it's, you could show them it's true and it wouldn't matter.
That's the problem, because they don't value truth. Yeah. If they don't value truth, showing them truth means absolutely nothing.
Do you think people want to hear truth when it makes them feel bad?
Exactly. That's another. So. That's another problem. Is in order to pass through this zone of it takes a lot of hell to get to the point where you come out on the other side and you value it, because it's not comfortable. In order to care about truth, you have to be willing to accept shit that's not comfortable, and there's no way around that.
No, the truth doesn't give a shit how you feel.
Exactly. And that means you have to be willing, I would say not even willing. You have to know that there's going to be a bunch of shit you're going to have to climb your way out of in order
So why would they commit to that?
is because that's the
Well,
problem.
they feel good now.
That's the argument I'm trying to make, that it's more important. And I'm not doing a very good job of it, by the way, but my argument that I'm trying to make is that it's more important to have truth than it is to feel good right now. And even if you look at that long term, you're feeling good right now has more long-term negative consequences on you in almost all scenarios than if you were to seek truth. That's almost always true. But like convincing people of that, because everyone, especially now, is they have like no attention span, including myself.
Yeah. See, like, that's a big problem.
So they care about right now. And that's why they're so focused on their feelings right now. They're not able to see the big picture.
Just a little step back, like I said about the Google thing. Who clicks on the references at the bottom? You know, who reads the bibliography?
The answer is people who give a fuck about truth. That's the answer to that question.
Yeah, which is not many.
I agree, and that's a problem.
I got my truth, you got yours.
Like you hate to say that. I hate to say this, but everything we've discussed to this point hinges on this one philosophical idea, and that is the importance of truth. It would literally solve the Trump problem if we could convince enough people to give a fuck about what is and what is not true. That would solve it. In fact, the Republican Party could not exist if people gave a fuck about what is true. They couldn't, because they rely on fear mongering and lies and
also harping back to the guy in the string vest and the shorts and the trainers and the 3 kids in the static caravan on some freaking site somewhere on benefits. Is he doesn't want truth, he just wants to feed the family. I know, and that's
if
the government turns around and says, I'll give you an extra $10 a month, I'm happy with that.
And I think that's by design to a large extent.
Yeah, I agree.
And it keeps people stuck in this, like, so much fear that they have to focus on the right. Well, I don't want to use the word have. They feel like they have to focus on the right now because it's just basic survival. The problem is, in the big picture, it doesn't have to be that way. As a matter of fact,
I'd go the other way around and say, because if you look at the big picture, that's the way it is going.
What do you mean?
You mentioned the lack of looking at the references in Google, the following TikTok trend. I'd rather do a dance on TikTok because it gets liked and I can move on. It's becoming the big picture.
Can you dumb that down for me? I don't understand the point you just
made. Like you said, if you could see the big picture, you could see the truth in the big picture, but they don't want the truth in the big picture.
Right.
They want the TikTok dance, the new trend.
Okay, it's a possibility. We don't know that. We don't know that, but it's a possibility. But I believe, maybe this is the hopeful part of me that's being naive, but I really do believe that they think that's what they want. That's not really what they want.
Oh, agree. Wow.
But the problem, like, how do you solve that? Like, I don't know the answer, but I believe that they think, and this is the problem. What people have this like freedom mentality of like, people will naturally do what's best for them. No, that's not true. People will naturally do what they think is best for them, but not everyone has the capacity to understand the limitations and the consequences of their actions. Like, big picture, not everybody has that. Hell, I don't have that. I'm not even claiming that I do, but it's a spectrum, not a black or white. It's like some people have more of an ability to do that than others. And I don't know. I don't have the answer. I know the problems.
I don't think you can. I just think that the propaganda will overwhelm it.
So, yeah, you're right. So the propaganda is, how do we fix the propaganda? Then
propaganda works.
It does.
You have to change it around.
Well, bubbles.
I still go back to my original point earlier on, that the only high likelihood chance right now is revolution, and it's probably going to have to be violent, because they're not going to stop.
Milwaukee is freaking protesting hard now. Like they have the
They
streets
are.
full of people,
And
and the liberals are arming themselves, walking around with
I
AR
see
strap.
that as a positive, and I know not everybody agrees with me. A lot of people on the left sees me as a traitor, but I see it as people are waking up and seeing reality because things are heading in a very bad direction and it's only getting worse. And every single thing that we can measure shows that I'm not just some crazy person screaming like a conspiracy, like they're going to take over, and it's happening. It keeps happening.
You're not the only one I've heard talk like this, to be
Yeah,
fair.
but the point I'm making is I'm not just spouting out shit that's based on feelings. We can measure all of the things that Trump has done that has led to this point. We're not being like what's the word? Emotional. We're not making up shit and like exaggerating. Like this is what we're seeing. This is reality. And people need to be prepared, because if this were 10 years ago and this shit happened, we would be fucked. Have no chance at all. The only chance we have at this point, maybe we won't need it, but people at least need to be at a point where they're ready for the high likelihood chance that they're going to have to fucking fight back. That's all there is to it. And people need to get rid of that ideology. Guns are bad.
It's a strange thing that I don't see that as a positive. I think it's sad.
It is. No, I agree with you that it's wrong that we've got to this point, but that it's wrong doesn't change that we're at this point. So ideology can't fight reality. That's the problem. And I know a lot of people make the case that I do, try to make things like principled and like this is reality, but they're actually have an agenda to do something evil. And that makes it hard to make this case. It makes it hard to make this case. But I am being 100%, maybe I'm wrong, it's possible, but I am being 100% no agenda, no bullshit. This is what I truly believe, that this is our only chance.
Something having, I've been around a while, more than most people, and voices like that, I've heard more than one like this, right? It's not something I thought I'd hear coming out of America. I really did.
Yes, and I realize that, and that's why it's weird. So difficult, because I realize that I have a fucking mountain to climb before I can even get people to take notice, because other people have used this same sort of dialogue.
You don't sound like an extremist.
Yes, exactly. And I have to fight all of that in order to even be heard. Yeah. And so I have to think ahead. And like, I have failed so far. You know why? Because I'm emotional, because I'm angry. And when you're angry, it makes people think that you're a fucking crazy person that is just trying to push an agenda, or you just don't know what you're talking about, etc. That fights against everything too. So every single little thing, including your tone of voice, everything has to be considered. And I'll admit it, right? So far, I failed, like, severely.
And you can't tone the emotion down, because it means so much to you.
The funny thing is that I have always harped about it, and I've realized this from day one, that emotion harms your chances when it comes to logical dialogue. But I fell into that same fucking trap, even after making it.
Well, did you ever see that new streamer Burnt Peanut?
No.
He is like a complete idiot, but people just flock to him because he's just like little like gas and shit, and that's all they care about nowadays. It's like,
well, I think people are uncomfortable, but they're hurt. People are hurt emotionally, but they don't want to deal. Some of this is conditioning, but they don't want to deal with the root of the problem and solving it and everything. So what they've done is they've been conditioned to get these small dopamine hits through social media and all this shit. Like, so they use that as like a substitute for reality. And as long as people are doing that, we're only serving the wealthy. We're only helping this bullshit. Yes.
I do that too with like video games.
I do it too. I do it too. I'm not acting like I'm above it, by the way. I'm just saying that you have to moderate that. Like, yes, there's a lot of benefit to escapism because it can keep you from fucking losing your mind. But I think people have used it too much to the point where it's like they have training wheels on now. Like they're not prepared.
See, that's where I benefit, I think, because I don't walk around with a cell phone or anything like that. Like when I leave my computer, I have no connection to the internet and none of that shit. Like I am free in the world. I observe everything, my surroundings. I pay attention. Like I notice things. Where I look around, everybody else just got their face deep in their fucking phone. Like every lunch break or anything, people just sitting there doom scrolling their fucking phones. I'm just like looking
I
around,
agree.
like
I agree, and
what
I
the
see
fuck?
things very similarly. So
TikTok, watching the latest dance. Yeah.
absolutely, but I do similar things. The important thing is the reasoning, the motivation behind why you do it. If you choose to do it while being aware of your circumstances and shit, that's fine, especially if you need it.
So
But
here's, sorry, no,
you're
no,
fine. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was going to say about all this. It's okay if you can see it and you can get yourself away. But people don't.
Yeah.
People walk into you rather than put
So
their phone down.
to an extent, it's
So-
kind of crazy that I even say that, because it's not their fault that they can't see it, because like
It's worse. Now
Yeah.
we've got AI putting up videos that you can scroll through.
So if
It's
that's
this
the
little-
case,
Yeah.
and we can't convince people to see what we see, like in general, the only option we have is for the people that do see what's going on to fucking solve it themselves. And what chance is there without majority?
Well, you have to have support. from
People are
Exactly.
majority.
easy
So how?
addicted to things. Like
Yeah.
people are so easily addicted to gambling, drugs, alcohol, sex, technology, and it's all that dopamine. That's all they care about is dopamine.
It goes back to it. It's the moderation thing, and it's like people are so stuck on their dopamine fix that they're incapable. Like you need a certain amount of moderation to even be aware. Because if you are solely focused on your next high, you're getting your rocks off and fucking everybody in town, or fucking doing drugs, or whatever it is that you just need that next dopamine fix, you're incapable of seeing the negative in the world, because you have to pull away from your dopamine fixes in order to be observant of
So
the shit
that's
around you. You can't
Yeah.
be aware without getting away from that.
So here's the thing. What I was saying about the AI thing, it's feeding it. It's
You're right.
feeding
You're
the
right.
lack of concentration, the ADHD stuff.
Yes,
the
and
doom
all
scrolling.
the
Here's
sad
a
thing
puppy,
is
here's a
all
puppy
of-
we saved from the river today. All AI,
Right. all
What
of
do you
the
think
things we
the
talk
Russia
about.
thing? So
What?
Russia got like a shitload of snow. Like they got unprecedented amounts of snow that unlike they usually get. Well, right away people started making AI videos of fucking snow like drifts as high as fucking like apartment complexes and people sledding down it and shit. And the news was posting those AI videos as though
What the
they're real.
That should give you like people should realize this, learn it, and take it into the future. And
See,
that should
unfortunately-
affect how they see the media, because it's bullshit. It's
Unfortunately, Gabs and Trobs, and you're both laughing, is people are lapping it up.
Oh, I know.
It's
People are
because they
stupid. I
don't
said
ca-
that over
Well,
and
yeah.
over.
Well, hold on. Yes, it's true that they're stupid, but I don't see that as the root. The root is the same problem we brought up before. People don't care about truth. That's not what they're valuing. And as long as that's the case, this will always be a problem. And
Novel experiences.
yeah, well, it's emotion. It's novel experiences are, yes, part of it, but I think the root of it is the dopamine fix, the lack of moderation, they're just like,
Well, they don't question anything. Like they just
The
accept
lack of
everything as
critical
it is.
thinking.
yes. Well, and I see that maybe it's the same thing. I'm just saying it differently, but that is the lack of caring about truth. That's what critical thinking is, because you don't care about critical thinking if truth isn't your end goal.
Of course, yeah.
Like
So-
I always get questions anytime I see something or something. Like I start questioning like different aspects or things of it. Like I'll start picking videos apart, be like, okay, that's AI because this did this or that. Like
I've
Even
started doing
movies.
that, and it's sad because I'd never thought I would be in a place where I had to fucking critically analyze whether or not videos were fucking real. And here we
Yeah.
are.
I
And here we
started-
are.
I
It's
mean,
sad.
Well, I
And
did
the,
with movies a lot because back whenever I'd watch movies with friends, they'd get so annoyed because I'd pick out like inconsistency, like the one Hercules movie. I was like, well, that's not even like Greek architecture. That's freaking like Turkish architecture and
I'm
shit
that
like
guy
that.
too, and I piss a lot of people off because they're like, "Dude, you have to be literal," but that's just how I am. I can't help it. I'm the guy that's like, actually,
I did it with the COVID stuff. And I
right?
dug into
Well,
that and
well,
dug into
so
it.
to
Apocalypto was a big one for
And
me. Yeah,
yet, even
Epstein film.
though I could show people about the COVID stuff, I could show the scientific papers that I read to deal with it, and they still disagree.
You're right, but to be fair, to defend you and what we're talking about, that's a very important thing. But what we're talking about is more about really kind of overall meaningless things. Where
Sure, but the
I'm the
mindset's
guy
good.
that's like, it's not that important. Like it's a movie that gets something wrong, and I'm like, actually, I'm that guy. I'm that
Sure.
guy that people are
Right.
like, you
Yeah.
motherfucker, shut up.
Yep. That's why I don't watch movies alone.
Why can I see the laser beams in space?
Well, yeah, I'm the guy that watches
Yeah.
Star Wars, and I'm like, that's so unrealistic. That wouldn't
Yeah.
actually like.
Yeah, ships won't fly
I
like that in outer space.
My missus loves that when I try that stuff.
I understand why people are, to look at it from a different angle. I understand why people are put off by that, but we are important because you need people that see things through like a very literal lens. At least not always, but you need them at least in certain tasks.
I'm told I'm too literal and too honest. Like I'm just brutally honest at times with people, and they hate it.
I'm the same. Well, I'm okay. I'm not as brutally honest as some people. Like the one person I'm thinking of is my aunt's husband. He is so far that she'll be like, she'll make the mistake knowing that she fucked up of saying like, does this dress make me look fat? And he's like, sure does. He
That's
has
me.
he has no shut
I have
off.
no.
I'm
Well,
not
the
that
old
bad.
lady, the ex-wife used to have no filter.
No filter.
Right. I'm not that bad. I will lie if I consider it a white lie for the greater good.
Like a kid, like I could lie to a kid, like to keep their, so not to ruin their
Yes.
confidence or something like
Yes,
that.
I'm
like,
the same on that.
But
And
also trying to explain things to them in a more logical way that they can maybe understand and get a better perspective.
true. And another thing, the greater good is subjective to a large extent. For example, a lot of people think that it's fucked up that I'm an atheist that didn't tell my children the truth about Christmas. And that's because, from my perspective, the greater good was allowing them at least a brief period of time where magic was real so they could revel in that and have that imagination and shit like that before later on they're going to fucking realize it was bullshit.
If you fed them that stuff, they wouldn't understand anyway.
True.
No,
let them believe things, like let them believe irrational things up until a certain
you
point.
have to learn to,
as long as the thing from your perspective doesn't cause more harm than good in the long run. And that's why I didn't teach them about God and stuff, because I think that's a detriment to society. But Santa Claus, who fucking cares? Just let them fucking believe.
Kind of funny because the belief in Santa Claus has actually ruined people's faith in God, because they started out as kids believing in this fairy tale character, and just to grow up to find out he wasn't real kind of makes them question other things. Well, what else did they tell me was real that isn't real? Like God.
Yeah, that's a possibility. I just think that kids should be allowed to believe in it because all their school kids, their mates, their friends, they all believe in Santa and fairies. And just let them carry on, have some fun. Their imaginations are running wild.
That's
anyway.
what I believe, that
they will.
Yeah, truth matters. Truth matters, but it's not for children. They don't have the necessary equipment yet and the understanding to critically think. Let them be children for a while, and then they'll get to that later.
It's the adults that go to like the Ireland thinking fairies are real and actually go looking for fairies or Bigfoot and shit like that.
That's different. You're right. That's different. But
those people are completely fucking insane.
Yes, and you can't blame parents for that. That's not the parents' fault that unless the parents did some really fucked up shit.
Oh, did you see that video I posted about people? A lot of people are mentally 12. I thought it was hilarious because I was calling Patrick a 12-year-old, and then I found a video. It came out like a couple days after that.
I saw it, but I didn't click on it. I've been really busy lately. But what's the gist of it?
Well, it's just like the mental, like how people like just kind of like with the TikTok and all this bullshit, like people's mentalities and like how they act, how they talk to people. Like it's just Like
And
Trumpism.
I see it as the same thing as what we talk. It's all connected. It's not separate. It's all about that. For one, it's about not caring about truth. It's about the next dopamine hit. All of this is interconnected, and
Honey,
all of it goes back to explain why people are the way they are right now.
Underdeveloping their brains, basically. It's just they never really, and how easy life has become. So back in, like, you go back 100 years where people actually had to struggle every day to survive for food,
And that's why
working hard.
a lot of my situation, which a lot of people around me can't even comprehend why I do what I do. Some of that's on purpose because I want to be in a situation to where I have some struggle. And a lot of people can't wrap their heads around that like that. They're like, why would you purposefully struggle when you can avoid it? They're like, that's stupid.
Most of my life's been a struggle. So to me, it's always kind of been overcoming adversity has always been key.
Yes, but there's part of the human element philosophically that it benefits you to struggle. And a lot of people can't comprehend that. They're like, that makes no sense.
When you're comfortable, you stop growing as a human.
Do you think maybe the propaganda has gotten so much propaganda, so much skip over this? Like you watch the news on the telly and it's edited to make it look like this instead of that. You know, you don't get the full story. All that has been going on for so long that people are just programmed to not want the truth.
Yes, and the underlying principle behind the propaganda is not new. What is new is they've gotten better and better and better and better at it.
Yes, yeah.
And now they're so good at it. Those of us that want the world to change for the better, in our view, what the fuck? How like we have a massive uphill battle. Like I don't know where to begin.
It's very difficult to get past brainwashing.
Well, it's overloading too. Like if you go back to the 1920s, like they didn't know 90% of what we know now. Like just the variety of topics and things. Like they usually had a profession, and that's what they're proficient in, and that's about all they knew, other than what was going on with the Joneses or somebody next door.
Yeah, and all of this kind of goes back to like the big part of the reason why a lot of people, especially here in the West, are the way they are is because in our lifetime, we haven't, in general, I'm not saying you, in general, we haven't experienced hardship. And when you don't experience hardship, the whole world becomes meaningless because in some way, this sounds crazy, but I believe this, meaning is derived from struggle, and you can't get meaning devoid of struggle. Like that's maybe I'm not saying that correctly because it's not 100%.
Well, we have the wrong kinds of struggle nowadays. It's just trying to pay debt off, and that's everybody's stuck in student loan debt, mortgage debt, car payment debt, and then it's just driving them insane. So they obfuscate into these dopamine fixes to counterbalance that stress from the debt.
That's true too, but it also goes back into that problem because people have lost the ability to cope legitimately. That's not a right word. To cope properly because they haven't faced struggle. So when actual shit happens, like Trump's actions, for example, they freeze. They can't handle it. They shut their brain off on purpose because they don't know what to do.
They don't understand it.
That's true as well.
People I talk to now, they just refuse to watch the news. Like they don't even pay attention to what Trump's saying or doing. Or they just turn the news off and watch bullshit.
How many people have to walk in the Western countries? Have to walk 2 miles to find some sticks?
Very few.
Or six miles with a bucket on your head to get dirty water.
I've stuck in a lot of situations. Like one time I was at a friend's house and his grandmother came over and his whole family was going with his grandmother. I had to ride bike home like 2 miles in like negative temperatures with just a wind jacket on. I froze my fucking ass off before I got home. Like I was shaking, turning blue. Like,
I can't compare myself to the people who are like 6 years old and have to walk 4 miles with a bucket on their head to get dirty water and solve problems with
actually they're strong.
They have to feed well. I'm walking up frozen to the ground.
So like I don't have a good like comparison because I've had a pretty easy life, but I wish that weren't the case because I would be not only better as a person, but I would also, and a lot of people can't, they'll disagree with this instinctively, but I believe that I would also be happier if I had struggled more. 100% believe that.
I had a lot of chaos. So my life was just a lot of chaotic things. A lot of times it wasn't anything that I did or anything, but just having to deal with the chaos at hand.
But in a way, it causes you to, everything is like it's duality in a way. The only way that you understand what you consider good is by exposure to the bad. You can't understand or fully grasp one without the other. That sounds like some crazy Taoist shit, but it's true.
Yeah, you don't know what's good unless you know, like you have to have bad to know what good is.
Exactly. And that's another reason this goes back into my philosophy of living forever, because most people claim that they would want to. I disagree.
Oh, no.
Because nothing matters without the threat of we're not here forever. That's what gives meaning to life. Everything you care about is predicated on that one belief. If that changed, nothing, money wouldn't matter. Your days wouldn't matter. It would all be nothing. It would mean nothing.
Well, unless like you're a vampire and you're locked in the ground for like 100 years, and then
you would think that people might like to live longer, live forever, because they could learn this and they could learn all about the universe. But if you're living for forever, right? You fuck about it. What the fuck do I want to learn for?
I agree. I don't think exactly. Even knowledge applies what I said.
Yeah,
knowledge has no meaning without the concept of our finite existence.
You don't need it.
Exactly.
I guess from this point on, it would be kind of meaningless. But imagine if you're a caveman and you found out you had immortality, and then going through all the ages, going through the Roman periods and everything, and actually experiencing all those events. So it would be interesting. I
think it's interesting because we are looking at it from our subjective perspective. But if that had been real, it wouldn't be interesting because knowledge would mean nothing. And also, I don't think we would have those accomplishments that you're describing, because what would cause people to drive? You need meaning to do these things, to make things change.
But saying if you're one person, like all you knew is basically how to make fire, and then you kept living on, like you died in like some hunting accident or something like that, found out you couldn't die, and then you kept going up through the ages, learning more, started to travel the world. I mean, because all your family members would have died.
Well, you're gonna do something. So what I said is not entirely correct, because you don't entirely need meaning in terms of mortality, because you're gonna do something, because you'll fucking. Like boredom is the most psychologically draining thing in the world, where we fear it more than anything. So it is true. People will still do stuff and would still, but I think it would look very different than what we are at now. I think that the world wouldn't look like it is now.
I think if you were like that, you would go insane anyway.
Oh, you would have bouts of insanity, but you would recover from it at times.
So the question is, would we evolve? Would our brain be able to handle it over time?
I wouldn't say all humans, but just one, like you personally, as one single had immortality versus the rest of the world.
Yeah. That's a good point. Like, it's very obvious, like what you said. Why would you? You're right, because evolution, the entire purpose of evolution is about survival, and survival means nothing if you're immortal. So there would be no evolution.
Well done. God win.
There is a movie I was basing that assumption off of. I can't remember.
The thing I was going to disagree with something Trop said earlier on about boredom being the worst thing ever. I think boredom can be a catalyst to things.
No, I agree with you. So what I mean when I say that is not from my perspective. Yes, I don't like it, but you can learn to learn from it and to use it for your own, you can use it as a utility for certain things, and it's useful. But what I mean is psychologically, the majority way, it is uncomfortable for most people to a large extent, is kind of what I meant.
Okay. Yeah,
I went through hell
the
loneliness bit, man. But yeah, a month or so later, yes, I agree with you on the second part as well, though. But at the time, it was a bit of a cunt.
Oh, I did it for years. Like after the ex-wife like sent my kids away and then ended up taking off, and I went insane for after the
It's
first
really
few
fucked,
weeks,
isn't it,
and
dude?
then I just
feel so
secluded
bad for
myself.
you.
Like I locked myself down for like almost 5 years. Bianca kind of was the one that kind of dragged me out of it.
I've been there. I don't think I've been there for as long as 5 years, though. I've been there, like, I've been through their periods of time throughout my life, but they've usually lasted about a year or so and then drained away.
The little cunt trying to instigate it here is gloating on chat, but she doesn't realise that it's made all my old long-term friends go, oh, what a bitch. And
Honestly, just
line,
from my perspective, early on today, and this is, I could be wrong, but this is my perspective. I saw it as early on that like it was an attempt to use chat as a means to attack someone else, like through like, you know, like, hey, I'm here just saying my opinion, but the real goal, in my opinion, was to attack. And the moment I noticed that,
not your friends, guys.
I haven't been looking even. I haven't followed it at all because I in my opinion, I see the end goal and I'm not part of that and I don't care about it. I have nothing to do with this shit.
I do rattle her chains at times just for my own kicks and giggles.
I know. So I understand why you do what you do.
It's so similar, exactly. So yeah.
I completely understand. I just have a little bit different personality.
Well, I have respect for Audie.
None of it should be done, man. None of it should be done publicly. Like it only happens because
that's why I told her to quit airing her dirty laundry in a public place.
And that's why I ignore it. That's why I don't give it any attention at all. I just completely ignore it.
And thank you on your part, both of you, for that kind of shit. But yeah.
Well, that's part of it is it's more than just one thing.
It doesn't affect her kids, man. She affects her kids. She's
exactly
evil.
Right. Well, part of it is moral, and I think it would be wrong to get into people's personal shit. But it's more than that too. It's also about the show. We're not here to deal with personal shit. I do not want a Jerry Springer show. I'm not interested in that shit. I don't want it. In fact, I have struggled over and over and over because people keep trying to make it that because that's what some people want. Like Patrick cough
at the start.
We said it at the same time. I was like, cough, Patrick, but
like you tried at the start.
I know, and I shut it down. I shut it down very forcefully, but
on today's in the chat, he was trying today.
I know, and I shut it down. Sometimes I'm a little more polite, but he's been doing it a lot lately, so now I have no patience left, and now I'm just straight up like that's what low IQ fucking idiots do. So go somewhere else. I'm not interested.
Yeah, I can't stand his bullshit.
I have no problem letting him up because I want people that disagree with me and us. But I have no tolerance for people who aren't going to discuss ideas. I don't want no fucking personal, let's attack Gadwin. Let's attack, like, people can attack me. I don't give a fuck. But I don't want anyone else. Like, that's not what we're here for. That, like, I don't want that shit.
Oh, yeah, I had
Patrick will find his penis.
Chat yesterday or whatever, and I invited him to come and blitz out again because they're funny, even though they're not really real. But I need a new blitz out acid to come back, and he sort of stopped texting the moment I said that. So
I blocked Patrick for his racism.
Basically, I told Acid to his face, man, I know your blitz outs aren't real, but I'm bored, so chuck us another.
I'm fed up with coming online and going into chat and people being racist and bigoted.
Well, some of it's fake, and that's what
I don't care
like about it.
I'm just blocking them anyway now.
Well, I agree with you, but the problem is some of it's fake to like some people are addicted to this drama and they'll fake it in order to cause a big scene because people are addicted to that drama. But the problem is that causes people to be, how do I put it? They're immune to it over time. And then they actually become racist because of that thinking.
I was a little bit neutral towards it with Pooh Bah.
But that's what
comes
happens.
in with intelligent topics sometimes.
I can agree with that, and maybe you're not what I'm talking about because I'm not making like
I've got rid of him now.
I'm not saying this applies to everyone.
No, I realized what I was doing, so I got rid of it.
Okay, that's good. At least you understand the root of the why. But still, my point: this neutrality in general, everybody don't have the awareness to just know what's going on and shit, and why people are doing what they're doing. So when people do that, they kind of open themselves up because you kind of the saying, there's psychological truth to the saying that you are the 5 people closest to you, because whether you want it to happen or not, you take on their attributes and their behavior and shit because you're around them.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be neutral toward bad people because it will make you a bad person, even if you don't want it to happen.
That's why I don't get why people are nice to Holmes. Like, that guy is the most toxic, racist,
so yes, I agree, and that you're gonna I'm sort of like an example of the wrong here. So I'm very strange in this regard. So I completely agree that he's toxic and all this, everything that you say. However, I do think that there's utility in his existence as well. So you have to separate the two. Well, you don't have to. I'm not going to force you to, but you can. And I think that I can coax out of him logical points. Not always. If he's emotional, just like anyone else that's emotional, they won't be very logical. But if I come at it in a certain way, he will entertain logical discourse.
Yeah, at times. But, I mean, he is straight racist, Islamophobic.
I know.
Like,
it's not racist. It's nationalist, mate.
But look, I don't automatically go. I try not to automatically go racist bad. What I do is, this person is racist. Okay, I'm not a fan, but why are they racist? And he has made attempts to give his logical framework for why racism isn't what I think it is. And I find value in that. Now, I don't agree with him, but he's not, in my opinion, he's not the typical racist that's like
I disagree that he's your standard racist.
That's what I'm saying. He got there from a different way.
Yeah, he's kind of what would you call it? Ignorant of it in some ways. He doesn't really know what it is. He thinks he's nationalist. And he's standing for his country. And
his
he doesn't deal with racism on a daily basis.
He thinks black people do the most crime and all this shit.
I absolutely don't agree with how he treats you in any way, shape, or form. But I love how he has the opposing argument and he defends it better than anyone else.
Oh yeah, he can articulate his racism in ways that other racists can.
Yes, but it matters.
From his perspective, it's not right. We see it as racism. I'm not stupid. I'm not being dumb here, but he doesn't, and I understand why he doesn't on certain.
But that
that's right-wing talking points mostly with him.
Look, that's the difference. That's the difference.
He's on the opposition, though. You know, I don't have it. You know, the issue that is on the opposing side, and he is one of the best people at doing it without being. We'll just go to insults.
Yes, so for me, that encapsulates a big part of it. For me, the way I would word it is that. I don't do this thing where all racists are racist, and because they don't all get there the same way. Most racists are just feel based. I don't see him in that way. I'm sure there's feeling involved.
It's hereditary, a lot of it. It's handed down.
Yes, but I don't. I could be wrong, but I don't see him as one of those people that got there purely through emotion. He actually has, whether they're correct or not, he has a logical framework for how he got to where he is. And most people, you can't say that about most racist people. Like
that was my argument. I just really don't think he understands it. And to be fair to him, I've had arguments with him about things like this. Bullshit. And he said that, he said, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I can learn about this. I can move on. I can change my mind. He was quite happy to change. Whereas if you talk to somebody like Kuba, he will try and give you the science behind it.
Yeah.
Which just makes me laugh. You know? So
I have talked Holmes into believing more left stance than what he had as his right stance, right? So let me reiterate: the fucking Gad shit from him is all shit. You know, I'm not for any of that. Yeah, so apologies, Gads, because I understand why you hate
I agree.
the fuck out of him, and that's fair enough. But on the none of that side, I love how he defends his totally. I really enjoy how he defends his totally opposing side. Like he isn't racist in his head. It's
Well, no. He is racist. He admits to it. He just from his perspective,
nationalist and
true.
explains to great detail in why it's nationalist and not racist. He's
That's
not racist.
That's true.
He will admit to prejudice occasionally.
That's true, but
he won't admit to racism.
You're right.
Nationalism.
So my point being is, from my perspective, he's describing racism in different words, but what he's trying to do is to show that is not a bad thing. And he's made some points that are semi-valid. I'm not going to say change my mind, because he hasn't. He's changed my mind on other things before. But he makes some points of view that I can, if I'm being completely impartial and objective as I possibly can be, they're not completely without merit.
That was what I was trying to say.
Right. And that's the difference. He's not just, I know the difference between someone like him and a complete moron that's just watched fucking, who's that guy, Gadwin, that you said you had to listen to your whole life? That right wing. Yes. Like a person that's knows nothing about nothing, but emotionally loves a guy and has regurgitated all this shit, and that's how they feel about the world. That's different. Like that's a completely different kind of racist. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
indoctrinated.
Yes, and that doesn't mean that I think Home is right. That means that.
And there's also your. It could be your environment, like where I live. Right, I see about 4 black people a day, maybe in the whole town.
Where I work at,
it's not just seeing them. Well, wait now, it's not just seeing them or living with them or being around them. What if you're in that particular place where most of the crime is committed by them as well? Now, what do you turn around? And they fucking eat your guts. They can't stand you.
4 a day, but how many other people do you see a day, bro?
How racist are you going to be?
4 blacks and only 4 blacks a day?
If you've seen this black woman I work with today, oh my God.
White people a day,
Why?
Oh, she's beautiful. Brown, there's brown eyes, lips, perfect. Oh my God, she was.
Yeah, how racist are you going to? To some extent, if you live in that environment. I don't live in that environment, so I can't really argue with people who are racist in that environment.
That's another thing to consider. Racism is not just racism. Every individual has a different set of circumstances that led, like this changes from like region to region. There are places in the world where specific races, even if it's not due to their own fault, but specific races are pieces of shit. I'm not going to say who's who or what, but what I just said is factually true. Yeah. And that causes other people in that region to be racist toward them. And in that specific circumstance, I'm not defending all racism, that would be stupid, but in that specific circumstance, that's not an illogical position to hold.
Precisely my argument.
If you're somebody in the Sudan and then a white person shows up, that whole community is probably going to be racist because of like white nations that invaded them and treated them horrifically and stuff.
So again, it goes back to how they got to the racism. If you got there because you had one encounter with a black dude that stole shit from you and you think all black people are pieces of shit, you're an idiot. But you can get there logically. You're still an idiot, but you're less of an idiot if you had several experiences, but it's informed mainly by your region. Like, there's a reason why we have stereotypes.
Hating Muslims because the last one got in the curry queue before him.
Like, I look at all humans as humans. That's it. And treat everybody as humans. Unless you treat me wrong, then I'm going to base you off the actions of your intents.
So I agree with you, but I think we're all somewhere in this spectrum. But I'm not going to say I have no stereotypes, because there's a reason why we have them. They exist because we do not have the time in the world to go and evaluate each and every individual, and that would be necessary if we got rid of stereotypes. The question is, where do you draw the line? So I think that I think no. because that's a personal thing, and I don't base my ideology on it. It's because I personally can't handle. So my ideology, it's not about the Mexican music. It's about the fact that they think it's okay to disturb my peace. And I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong.
It's not common respect with each other. Like they need to learn how to have.
But I realize that is because they are conditioned in a different environment where peace isn't a virtue to the extent that it is in our society.
Well, it's kind of like people that are night owls. So like as a night owl, I was always quiet. I close doors quietly, close the microwave. I don't let the microwave beep or anything like that. Then you have your morning people. They don't give a fuck who's sleeping. They'll go around slamming every fucking door. And
yes. And some of it is conditioning.
Cats fucking jump my fucking front gate every fucking morning at 3 a.m. in front of my fucking Ring doorbell. Just talking. It fucking shits me. I get up at 4. These motherfuckers every fucking morning at 3.
I would lose it. I would lose it.
Wrangle there.
I'd have to say, mind I'd have to say, if mariachi music was a race, I'd be racist.
So yes,
meow, 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 meow.
I agree with you. That's another part of it. Is that yes, it would still bother me on principle that people are interrupting or disturbing my peace, regardless of what it was. But it's especially heinous that I fucking hate that music. I mean, I hate that music with every fiber of my being because it all sounds exactly the fucking same. I'm sorry, but it all goes. Every single one of them goes bum 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 bum. I fucking hate it, dude. and I'm sorry. So look, if that makes me racist, I will happily wear the badge because that pisses me off.
Never a flamethrower, and you need one there.
So I'm actually happy with how far I've come because originally I was going out and drawing fucking guns in their fucking face. That's where I was. Now I'm at least I've come down to the point where I realize like I'm kind of being
insane enough not to care now.
I'm being selfish, but because I'm forcing my values on other people, but I'm still haven't given up enough to where I'm just going to let it slide either. I'm just not going to kill people.
Need to get like a couple JL speakers and an amp in your trunk and then start blasting like heavy death metal and shit like that.
I learned about that mariachi music. I'd never heard it before. It's horrible.
I know.
It was watching. See this now.
And I don't understand how so many people. It's not like our culture. Like if you have a party, it's like a small little get together with friends. With them, the entire fucking neighborhood and some from like a state over are up in that motherfucker with like 500 people, and they're all jamming out to this shitty ass music. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, but if they heard your death metal music, they probably think the same.
And by the way, I realized that's sort of the irony is that if I played my music, most people would be like, "What the fuck is this shit?" It'd be the same thing.
Or like country, somebody playing country
music when I saw a couple of Mexican drug cartel videos. They weren't very nice, so I won't go into any details. But in the background, while they were doing all this shit, they were playing this mariachi stuff. And it's the first time I'd heard it, and I thought, what the fuck? You know, I mean, these people they're mental, and they're doing mental stuff to somebody else, but the music was the bit that got me.
I think a big part of it is like different groups of people around the world have different associations with their culture. Latin people in general have more association with their culture than other groups. Like white people, for example, we can take it or leave it in general. But they put so much. Go ahead.
Latin America is kind of a weird one because it was pretty much wiped out by the Spanish. When the Spanish came over, they gave them smallpox and almost killed the whole entire population of South America. And then they repopulated with their culture and Catholicism.
Mm-hmm.
So like you find Latin Americans
and then good old America claiming to spread freedom destroyed almost all of Latin America in the name of imperialism. And then we let them like simmer for a while, even after we fucked them over. And now Trump decides, hey, let's go give them another go. Let's go fuck over Latin America again.
Oops, I forgot the lube.
Yeah, basically. And like people are so stupid nowadays. They don't even have that knowledge of the past. And they don't understand that this is like fucking the same shit over and over.
we stole half of America from them. Like
Yep.
Spain owned, like Mexico owned from Texas all the way up to Canada,
Yep.
all the way over to California.
Yes, but Americans have this might makes right mentality, which is stupid as fuck. Just because you can do something because you have the power doesn't make it okay.
Well, the technological advances. England did the
Somebody
same
wants to
thing.
tell Trump that.
England had guns where other people only had shields and spears, and England was going around just dominating all the natives they could, and so they could steal their resources and enslave them.
I think if enough people got together, and again, going back to give a fuck about truth, then they would naturally learn about history, learn about all this shit and all that. They would see the patterns and they would collectively go, not happening again. We will fuck you up. And if enough people, if there were enough people that gave a fuck and cared, like it would naturally, like it leads to morality, because I don't think morality is separate from what I was talking about in that drive for truth. Because
there's an innate morality.
Yeah, because, well, utilitarianism, for example, there's no emotion in utilitarianism. It's logical, 100% logical. And
if it's a good thing morally, it should be a good thing for everybody.
Exactly. And that's a logical
it's
thing.
no good me saying I'm a moral person, I can do this, but you're not allowed to do it, or you can't do it. Everybody has to be. Otherwise, it's no good to me either.
Yeah, but my point is that if people were to give a shit about truth, it would naturally lead toward the morality that I'm talking about, because most of it's utilitarianism, which is an entirely logic-based thing. If you care about truth, you're naturally going to adopt that.
Yeah.
And everything else would follow suit. We would learn about history. We wouldn't let it repeat. We would give a fuck about everybody else, because we would understand logically that my giving a shit about myself, like, and in comparison to the greater person or the greater good view, they're one and the same. I am better if other people are better.
Yeah, here's a difficulty with that, is that how long have people been learning from history? Everybody knows the saying, don't they? If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
How long has that been going on? And everybody still goes around saying it, but nobody learns from it.
You're right. But the one thing that I first spoke of, it hasn't been the case, and that is the give a shit about truth. Being told you have to learn from history lest it repeat itself is not making you care about truth. If people cared about truth, they would understand the gravity of those words. It wouldn't just be empty shit.
Well, and
I agree, it wouldn't be
the rich
interpreted
have history from people. The rich do not want people understanding history.
You're right.
So therefore, they could repeat things that the rich have done to the impoverished or the peasants for most of history.
I'm not sure about that.
Education was reserved for the clergy and the wealthy.
Yeah,
almost all of history.
It's not now.
Most of your peasants didn't have a basic understanding of more than how to plant some
But
crops,
it's not now.
food.
Well,
and
then
craft
the
things.
education is there now.
And
if I go into a classroom, they're not going to miss bits out just to keep.
But you can't change thousands of years of humanity and moments. Like, we're getting better at educating now, but it's not going to change rapidly just because the means are there.
It's there for them now.
Yes,
like you were saying that previously, it was the monks and people like that. They had all the education, and nobody else had any, and they could teach them this and they could tell them that, and they wouldn't learn. Whereas now you don't get that. You go into a classroom now, and you go to learn history. The history's there for you.
Yeah, but that's not interesting.
It's not
for me.
Interesting to appease the rich.
You have to be interested in things to learn things.
And what we're talking about isn't separate from what we were talking about before, and that is not putting religion on an island, because it affects everything, and it affects this. And one good example is, have you noticed the things that they consider virtuous and like Christianity is literally making them more pliable to be raped by the wealthy? And that's on purpose. Like all the sayings, like be humble, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and like even slavery shit and all that crap. It's all designed to make people more easy to control.
Oh, absolutely.
And fuck over. And it has worked. And that's why religion's not fucking like innocent. It's not innocent.
It's going away
It's
though. So last I
True.
looked, atheists and nons now make up 1.9 billion of the population.
no other problem I have with it going away. People are saying it's going away, it's going away, it's going away. Don't go away. Get fucking rid of it.
I
Well, you
agree,
can't
but
just
it won't happen.
I know that. I
It's
know
if
that.
it's one of
I
those
go,
things like
whoa,
that would spark a holy
poison.
war. Like the book of
That's
Eli is a good example of that. Like there was a religion started a war and then it just ended up with each other nuking each other, and we ended up with an
that
apocalyptic world.
that's true, and I've also said before, and I maintain it now, even though atheists hate it. It would cause more problems, in my view, than good if we were to literally, if we had the power, if I could right now snap my fingers and get rid of religion, it would cause more harm than good because it's literally a huge substrate of the way meaning is formed, the way all of society is. Like, if we just took it away, it would devastate the population, a huge portion of it. People wouldn't know how to cope. People wouldn't know how to live, how to do anything. Like, we need a way forward and a suitable alternative that would be
I
useful
think
for
just
most
getting
people.
rid of it right now,
No,
which is maybe my idea, would just be
if you
anarchy.
replace pastors with like economic teachers and historians and stuff like that, where yeah, they gave a sermon, but it was based off of like history or something like that, and people still could come and network with each other and try to do good for their communities and stuff like that. Because the church is a staple for networking. That was what the biggest thing that churches provide is networking with your fellow community members.
That's true. And we can, again, we have the ability to create these things, to create a decent alternative. It's just like, it's such a small number. Like, I've seen some efforts in like the secular humanist community, which great what they've done, but like, it's such a tiny, like, they haven't reached
Minuscule.
enough people. Yeah, they haven't reached enough people. People aren't ready for that big of a massive change.
Well,
They'll fight you. They'll fight you tooth and claw.
Which
right.
we found during COVID, it's like people breaking the habit. So that during COVID, a lot of churches shut down, and people not doing something for like 3 Sundays in a row, they actually broke that habit and stopped going altogether.
Right. That's part of it too, but also, you're right. You're asking the right questions, and what you were talking about in that, like the foundational reason of what people gain from church, and a lot of it is simply the social atmosphere and the inclusion and all that, which you
Community.
easily get outside of religion. And I maintain that all of the positive things that like religious philosophers push as like why we can't get rid of it. Notice how all these people never talk about what is true. They appeal to utility. They go, hey, this is useful. But none of these things that religion provides for people requires religion. They can all be.
They can be useful without religion.
Exactly. You
You
can
can
get
do
there
good.
without the religion. The
Yeah.
religion is an unnecessary +1 in the equation.
Absolutely.
Which
yeah.
I kind of find it funny because I'm like an insider right now. I go to church almost every Sunday. I didn't go last week because it snowed,
Right.
but I
Why
sit there and listen to it, and I just shake my head at things, just like, what the hell?
That's what I was going to ask you. What is, out of curiosity, is it like a social experiment where you want to learn, or
My
like,
grandmother
why?
wanted me to go with her, so I take
Oh,
her
okay.
on Sundays.
So you've decided to use it as a social experiment so you don't go crazy.
Well, that's kind of my view of it, because a lot of the shit they rattle on, like they don't have basic understanding of how people lived during that times, or how like siege warfare worked, or nothing like the basics. All they understand is like the Jews were the greatest. They did all these things, and God provided all the power for them. It's like, no, they did things this way because, like how siege warfare. Like they didn't realize, like when Judea was sieged, they were like the Persians came there and they set up camp for months, and they built rams and rammed the walls. And I went up to the guy after the Sunday school lesson. I was like, they didn't build rams. I mean, you're in an area that lacks wood almost completely. There's barely any forest
In a
there.
fucking desert.
Wood for, yeah. And I was like, it took that time because they actually had to tunnel under the walls. So they'd take months tunneling under the walls, and then after they got to under the walls, they'd have the support columns there. They would burn them down. Well, they'd light it on fire, leave the shaft, and then once the fire consumed it, the walls would collapse, and then they would enter the city. He's like, oh, it's like, you're the Sunday school teacher, and I'm telling you how this shit fucking works. It's like they don't do their most basic of research.
That goes back to what I said.
I bet he left as an atheist.
In the past, I think we're kind of naturally, we have a tendency to default on our values when we look at other people. But the truth is, not all of us believe what we believe because we're seeking truth. And religious people in general, that's almost always the case. Very few of them, in my opinion, get there because they're seeking truth. They get there because they need it for some emotional purpose.
Well, and a lot of it's just because their parents made them go to church, and it's just that habit of they went since they were kids, and then they take their kids, and it's just
you
that
will find.
That's true.
I think we all know that we'll find that the ones who study it the most are the atheists.
That is 100%.
Or become atheists.
Both of my pastors in church, they went to like a religious university where they're actually drilled on that kind of thing. Like,
well, to be fair, I don't think he's claiming all. I think he's saying in general, your average theist knows nothing compared to an atheist. And that is true. That is true. But we're not making the claim that every atheist knows more than every theist, because that would be bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
No.
But most people nowadays are atheists just because they just don't care anymore. Like they're not indoctrinated into that lifestyle
to some extent. But like just recently I had a experience, and it still drives me crazy. I was talking to a family member, and she was talking about how, I know you won't understand, but she was talking about my sister. And she says, when she does things, she has to do things by the Bible. You can't pick and choose. And I told her, you have to pick and choose. And she's like, you don't understand. And I'm like, no, you don't understand, because I've read the Bible and understand it. You have to pick and choose, because there isn't this idea that you have in your head that everything has one like variation, and like God said this and God said that, and that's all there is. No, there's like 500,000 contradictions in the Bible. Mm-hmm. So you have to choose one or the other. There isn't one thing.
I always find it funny. God's opinions on things always change when the king changes.
I look at it and I go, Jesus Christ, how can people be this stupid? But like, it's so amazing to me that people can look past that shit.
Because they don't read the Bible.
Well, it's because they don't critically think about it. They don't question things.
Well, it goes back to the same thing. We have a theme over and over again. It's because they don't care about the truth. And that's the end all, in my opinion. I can't find a root further than that.
It sounds believable, and I agree with it.
Basic humans just aren't that way. Yeah, I'm autistic, so I have a different way of perceiving the world and looking at things, which I think maybe most of us here have some form of autism.
But I do. But so one problem with this is a lot of people view that as, and I hate this, but it's just true in society. They see that as, oh, that means something's wrong with you, which means your logical premises must be lacking. However, what they don't realize is that logic and emotion, while they can overlap to a certain extent, they are they're closer to being black and white than not. Meaning emotion literally causes you to be less likely to view things objectively. That's what it does.
I would have thought that logic and emotion were like virtually mutually exclusive.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Is they're closer to being that than not. However, they can overlap, and I'll explain why. Because you can get emotional about something that's factually true. In fact, that, in my opinion, is the best way to get emotional about something. So because you're emotional doesn't automatically divorce you from reality or facts. But in general, you know how we have a general way of emotion versus logic? That is true in general. And yeah, I don't know a better way of putting it.
Well, we all been in relationships. Like, you know what would be the logical thing to do at times, but when your emotions get the better of you, you do the emotional things that are irrational versus logical.
And that is where people who have the tisms actually have an advantage, because we are shut off to a certain extent when it comes to emotion or the emotional realm. It doesn't mean we can't look at emotion. We just don't feel it. We can look at it logically. And that allows us to be the best observers on the planet. It allows us to see things from an almost purely logical perspective.
I
which
agree,
is
but
extremely
logic,
useful.
I can't remember what they are now, but logic has its flaws as well.
True. By the way, I'm not making the
Not
case
something
that
people know about, you know?
right, and I'm not
That's why
making
there's
the
no
case.
capital T truth,
What?
because logic has its flaws. That's
Well-
why there's no capital T truth.
I disagree. I think there is capital T truth.
Oh yeah, in logic, yeah.
You really?
and-
That means then you
yes.
have objective truth.
No, well, no. Objective
Ooh,
truth
we have to
is
do this.
so okay.
Not today, maybe.
in
'cause this is
order- yeah,
big.
it's been
This is
long.
good.
It's been long. So the way I would
No.
put that is the only way for that statement not to be true is if you're claiming that people have subjective truth and each of them is reality, which it can't be true. That's not.
I
can't
don't. I claim that everything's
Contradiction.
subjective. Therefore, you can't have capital T truth.
So
Is
what you're
gravity
saying,
subjective? Like we know there's 1 g of gravity on Earth.
exactly.
Like that is a fact.
If you can measure it outside of your
hold
personal
on.
experience, if it's measurable, it's objective, which means if you can measure it, it's outside of subjective experience, which means there is capital T truth.
Hold on, we need to define what truths are.
That's
here.
true. Oh, okay,
I'm using
okay.
A slightly religious-based version, by the sounds
No,
of it.
I mean, there
You
are,
guys are using a distinctly
Okay. We're
physics only, which
Natural
is fine.
truths, like truths of
Yeah.
the natural world, like measurable.
No.
things.
I agree
That's
that there's
wrong.
only one particular reality, so therefore truth one.
Mhm.
there are different forms of logic as well, isn't there?
But there's
yes,
different perceptions of this truth, and that's what
I agree with that. So I
that's
completely
why I
agree
asked
with
for
you.
the definition, but I
Right.
think
The
we're
problem
all
I
on the
have,
same track.
I think so too, but just to make sure to parse this out. The problem I have is when people go, everybody has their particular view of reality. That's the smaller case truth.
Ah,
The problem is that's not truth. Truth is what comports with reality, capital T.
uh,
If you have your
I
smaller,
agree, but their reality is all they know, and that's all
Exactly.
they can say. So
Agree.
to them,
agree,
it is
but
following
it's
what you're saying.
I
just
agree.
not to us.
I agree, but
There's no room for that being
the-
truth in
the
logic.
capital T truth
Well,
still
yeah, that's the
exists.
issue.
They're just wrong. They're incorrect. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know, but you can't just go, you're wrong.
Capital
Well, no,
T
no,
truth
no,
is-
no, hold on,
I-
hold on. Yes, you can, because that's factually true.
But to us, it only satisfies. So, if
But
you
no,
can't explain-
no.
If you can't explain it to them, then they're not going to be satisfied, and they're just
I
going
get it. I get what you're saying, but this is outside of my personal. Like, this isn't so I can feel good. It's factually true.
because I'm on your side.
Right. But it doesn't matter if you're on my side or not, because even if I didn't exist,
It
even if I
matters to
didn't,
them though.
even true, but I don't care because it's not objectively
I
true.
don't care either, but it does matter that half of the audience cares.
I agree with that, and that's a problem.
You know?
I agree. That's a problem.
So I'm actually on your side fully.
The capital
Right.
T
You
truth doesn't
understand.
give a shit whether you can or not.
But I think that we need
Well,
to
I've got
get to a
cater for
point.
my audience.
I agree, but we have to get to a point where people don't, for one, by starters, don't use the word use the word truth for anything but truth. Your personal perception is not necessarily truth, and people need to quit doing that.
Yeah, or anybody else's. Yeah, my truth is not your truth.
I hate that saying because that's
exactly.
butchering the word. I hate it. It's
I'm on your side. Absolutely.
I know. I know you're just explaining things from the other perspective. I
We
get it.
were talking about that kind of thing.
That's all.
I know. I get what you're saying, but it just drives me fucking
It
crazy.
sucks.
We were talking about that similar things earlier on. So one of the words I can't stand when somebody says, "I literally died laughing." It's the same as my truth, your truth. Oh, fuck off.
Ugh.
I literally died laughing.
That goes hand in hand with the whole anti-intellectualism movement and
Of course
not
it
giving
does.
a shit about truth, because in their view,
Sounds
truth
good.
is literally dictated by feeling. Like what is real is dictated by how they feel. That is so fucked
right.
up.
I caught up with an old mate who's basically defined himself as a mystic.
Mhm.
So you take what you will from that, but he's a friend. He's a good friend, known him for a long time.
Yeah, but you can be
he's
friendly with
woo,
someone
but he
and
can
still.
be explained to.
I agree,
Yeah,
but you
sorry,
can be
go on.
friendly with someone, but at the same time say, no, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Well, he's trying to help me with my mental problems with his mystic approach,
That's
and
fair.
I'm stuck on the very start, and that's I just want a definition of
Well, hold on.
spirituality.
You can
that
find
doesn't
utility.
involve woo, because I don't use spiritual.
Hold on,
hold on.
Stuck
No.
on step
You don't
negative
have to.
one with the guy.
So I've been here before, like with meditation and shit. One
Yeah,
problem
it's
is
exactly
your way of seeing quote woo needs to go because
It
the
doesn't
truth
progress our
is
conversation. Yes, I agree.
right. Well, some woo is simply what we can't understand fully, and if you have to admit there's some shit that we don't understand fully that is real. Of course there is. But so what you should do is look at it more through like an experimental lens and try it. Just try. Don't go like, oh, this is real, but look at it skeptically, but go, hey, let's give it the old fucking test in science. Let's say, okay, this might be real. If it were real, what would we do? And to be able to evaluate that and give it a couple of tests. We don't have to be a long time.
I used to do shit like this when I get
I'd
started.
argue against that.
We would talk about
Well, it's
aliens,
really
and I
hard,
could
man. I can't
entertain
even
the
get an
idea of
explanation of
aliens and things
spiritual.
like that. But
I
I
get
don't
it.
believe in aliens as a thing, truly. But I just
Yeah.
entertain the ideas of them and shit like that.
I'd argue against that because where is the utility in somebody using something that's woo-woo to make you feel better, apart from a placebo effect?
Well,
It's
no.
like,
I
It's
agree. I agree with that. But my point is that it may not be the placebo effect. It may actually be something that we can't completely, like, for example, I'm not saying this is true, but let's find out that like acupuncture sounds like some crazy shit putting needles in people. But we found out, I'm not saying this is the case, but we found out that it like scientifically had some basis. We just don't understand why. And so because you went, that's woo-woo bullshit, you actually handicapped yourself from enjoying the benefits of that practice.
Depends on what the woo is.
I agree, but that's my point.
Homeopathy.
I agree.
But laying the hands on of healing,
and that goes back to what I said is an open topic. And like, for example, astrology, not an open topic. We know for a fact it's bullshit. But there are some things that sound a little funky if you're scientific minded, but it's not factually proven incorrect. And in that case, I think that we shouldn't go woo-woo. That like we shouldn't just go like compare it.
Can you give me an example of something that I can think of? I think most things have been tested.
Well, like say Carl Jung's typology. So
that's
people
a
think
good
psychology
example.
is bullshit, but yet Carl Jung's the one that wrote basically all of our science, all psychology books and shit like that. So like,
essentially, you could encapsulate it with "Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater." If something you think is illogical about a particular thing doesn't mean that the entire thing has no merit. That's all I'm trying to say. And I'm not even saying that it's not going to be the case. I'm not going to say.
So I would probably refine my argument to anything could be tested scientifically.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. All I'm saying, I'm not disagreeing with that. All I'm saying is give it its due diligence and scientifically test it yourself. Don't start with, that sounds like woo-woo, Buddhist, blah, 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 like some monk shit or a hippie. Don't do that. Just fucking
entertain the ideas.
I can generally pick one or two aspects that are woo-woo immediately. Hence why I say it. I don't just do that.
So I agree. Then I agree with you.
Rail.
Then I agree with you.
I don't do rashes here, man, ever.
Right. Then I agree with you because you're doing what I described before. That's essentially a stereotype. You're taking certain things based on like your history of certain concepts and you're associating with them and in order to save time because you can't learn everything about everything. So I agree with what you're saying. I just had to kind of tease it out.
People will be paying for that.
True.
Not Audi in particular, but people are getting ripped off Meanwhile, while they're trying to find out whether it's true or not,
That is
history,
true.
crystal healing, and all that bollocks, you know.
Well, hold on.
Um,
You're specifically talking about those that are for sure bullshit. My point
Yeah,
is we
all
don't
the ones
know
that
that
have
they're
been
all
scientifically tested
right.
have been shown to be bullshit.
I
What
laughed
was it
about
like?
like tarot card
Yeah.
part. I knew this person here not long ago that was all into tarot cards. So I started digging into it. I was like, how did this concept even come about? Here's the medieval card game that people just actually played a card game and then somebody turned it into this mystic fucking card reading bullshit. And then it took on it took a thing for
Yeah, and
itself in like the 1800s. Like it wasn't
I was
even
pretty disappointed Ouija boards were a Hasbro board game, brother. That's fucking
So another problem is how we define woo woo. It changes from person to person. I'll use an example here. Fuck, what was the example? I already lost
Man, I
it.
lost half my internet friends by
I got you
using
anyway,
my
Tom.
version
I had
of
the
Woo-Woo.
vibes with, you know.
You
sent
what?
me. You sent me the thought anyway, so I got it.
You got my vibe.
Awesome.
I had an example, but I lost it. It just fucking evaporated.
Yeah, I hate when I do that. And then you,
It
you
was
think about 20 minutes later.
Yes, and then I'll be too late. I'll probably make a video if that happens because it drives me crazy.
I mean, I can't stand it. Yeah.
It was an example of like me thinking something. Oh, meditation. So
okay.
I thought of meditation as quote woo woo. That's subjective. That's me personally. I thought, hey, it's fucking some crazy fucking monk shit based on spirituality, which is all bullshit.
It's
Now,
just
I'm
thinking.
going that way. Too,
Yeah,
man.
so-
I'm
so
fucking
look,
Tai
so
Chi,
look.
brother. I'm going Tai Chi, I reckon.
But look, it's entirely based on actual science. We just didn't. We didn't before understand how it worked. All
Didn't
it
have
is
the
is
science to test it.
all it is a state of consciousness that you reach, and there's a
Breathing
lot of
techniques
benefits.
Isn't
Yeah.
woo.
I used to
but
do it all the time
fucking
before going to
calling it
sleep.
Fucking mystical.
Laying in bed,
ESP
freaking
is-
just
No.
thinking.
You're right. You're right. So
However,
the problem is the association, because some people use the term meditation in that way, but sometimes we hear the word and we automatically associate it with those woo-woo people when it's not all that.
I've used meditation in martial arts.
Meditation's
Use
great.
it a lot.
Well, I mean, you could do it
but I
just
would
laying in
say-
bed, just thinking deeply inward
Well,
of things.
exactly. A lot of people don't know this. You can meditate and do stuff. It's not just closing your eyes and shit.
No.
It's a state of mind.
And it can really
Yeah,
affect
I
your
got a little
emotions.
bit
Like if you
minimal
don't
focus
control
at the
yourself, you
moment.
can get like adrenaline fucking boost from it and shit like that. Like
It makes you happy in a way, because what you're one, I think, and like good gamer GG is an example. He's a psychiatrist that does a lot of like mental health shit. He describes that a lot of our unhappiness stems from our inability to be bored. If you could do one thing to make your life better, purposefully sit, especially if you're a person that's constantly used to distracting themselves with the next video or the next video game or whatever, purposefully stop and stare at the fucking wall for 5 minutes and do that regularly throughout the day, and you'll be a happier person.
I have had like a
I'm
life
trying to get
doing
my
that. Like I'd be just
cardiovascular
left
up,
at places and just sat there and have to think. All I have is my thoughts. basically,
Right.
on, like,
So
a
I
percent
guarantee it's
for
impossible. It's impossible to measure this, but I guarantee you that you right now are a happier person than you would be if you had not had that experience.
Oh, sure. It helps me process things, and like you can really get through things. Like, why did I say this whenever I was doing this and shit like that, and it helps you just kind of figure things out, and then it just dissolves.
This
And
fucker runs 20K a day, man. Of course you fucking feel all right. Fuck's sake, guys. Where the fuck did that come from all of a sudden?
Didn't you read what I said?
Brother?
I said every day I gotta run. I said every day I have to run like 2 miles. If
I just want to get up to 1 mile a day. One.
Was it 1 mile?
You nag me. No. Well, for me, one will do. You need to
it's
keep
like,
doing your 20.
Yeah, but it was a joke. If you read the whole joke, it was.
Sorry.
It was. I set myself to have to run 20 miles a day, and every day I missed, I add 20 miles to the next day. And I said tomorrow I had to run for 2 months straight.
I missed that in bit. Yeah, cool. I thought you were fucking serious, dude. I was like, oh man, that's
Here's
kind
a
of awesome.
problem with your meditation. Here's a problem with your meditation. given the current state of lack of critical thinking, people wanted to click this and move on to that and all the rest of it. We used to use this stuff, right? So you can lie on the floor on your back and you can concentrate on your breathing. And you breathe in, you count to 5, you breathe out, in through your
That's
nose, out through your
oxygenation.
nose, but, right? Yeah. Now, try doing that for 5 minutes and see what happens to your brain. If there's a noise, half a mile outside the window, your brain's off.
That's
Wim
true. That's
Hof
true.
teaches
Now-
that.
Well, one thing that people don't realize at first when it comes to meditation is that it's a skill. When you
Yes,
first
absolutely.
start it, one, it's uncomfortable as fuck. Your brain's not used to that,
And
and it
embarrassing.
sucks. But you can get better at it if you stick with it, and you
Yeah.
will enjoy the benefits if you try.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law tried to teach me, and when I started doing it, I lied on the floor, and he's going, concentrate on your breathing. You got to do this. You breathe in through your stomach, bit, and blah, 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 blah. And
Breathe in deep and then let it out.
it's so embarrassing.
Well, one thing that a lot of people don't get is that it's not about that particular thing. It's a trick. All that matters is that you're becoming aware. That is a
Yeah, yeah.
trick to get you
Well,
to
Yeah,
become
I
aware.
agree.
Well, actually, one thing
You
it
don't
does
have to
actually
do
help.
breath.
It's providing more oxygen into the bloodstream.
That's
It's
true.
called oxygenating the blood or whatever. Wim Hof
Right.
does a whole thing because he teaches people how to basically
By the
walk
time,
around the snow in your pair of shorts and not be
Yes,
cold.
and
Well,
that's a
it-
whole different topic because with Wim, I think he's a combination of some bullshit and some truth.
I think it's
Which,
both.
I mean, the guy went
Yeah.
up Everest in a pair of shorts and mittens on. Like the
Yeah,
guy's
Wow.
he's a beast.
He's definitely a beast. I don't deny that at all. But I think some of the shit he teaches other people is
It's
not
bullshit.
true.
But
And it's
I
on
agree
he
with
purpose.
was scientifically tested. Like they did experiments on him.
No,
Basically,
sorry,
they
I
put him
find
in
it
ice
dangerous.
and everything.
I
He
know.
gets all these celebrities on, and they jump in under the ice, and I just think it's dangerous.
The guy's
It
won
is.
multiple records for like things swimming
Yes,
in
he
Arctic
has.
water.
So
What
so
about-
look. No
What
one
about
denies.
students?
No
What
one
about
denies his
students?
abilities at all. My problem is it turns it into this monetized system of I can teach you to be like me, and according to the results we've seen so far, it's killed people.
But
He can't.
Yes.
he
I agree.
wanted to make it that
He's
it
been
wasn't
doing it
him
all
that
his
he
life.
could teach anybody else how to do it.
Nah,
But he
but
can't.
No.
Oh, I bet a lot of it he can because he
No.
teaches like military and stuff like that. How they
I don't care
drive
what
with
he is.
marching
Well,
conditions
so
and stuff.
okay, to some extent, I'll give some leeway. To some extent, yes, some of it is teachable, but it's not all teachable. A lot of it is something we don't even know what it is, but there's something specific to Wim Hof that most people don't have. I don't think it's teachable.
It's because
And
he
how do you
cracked.
teach it?
His wife
How
committed
do you teach
suicide
it?
and left
This-
him to raise 5 kids alone. Like she went to the 7th story of her building and jumped off, committed suicide, and he just devastated. But he
Mhm.
knew he couldn't give up because he had his kids to take care of.
It's
And he went through
possible.
a
It's
mental
possible
state.
that experience is part of the answer of what makes him different. Maybe someone has to do something like that to reach
And
where he
yet-
is.
Tragedy.
No, but what do we get to see of his lifetime of doing this stuff? Is him teaching celebrities in a fucking week to do it.
But it's not
Somebody who's
celebrity.
been presenting
teaching
a
random
TV
people, like-
program on the telly
not-
for 15 years.
He was
Doesn't know what
doing
a
this
fucking
way
job
before a
is.
TV show or any of that shit. Like this guy was like doing this back in the 70s.
So look, I don't just absolutely hate the man, and I'm sort of in the middle here. I think he's real. His experiences are real. Yes, the bad shit he went through was real and led to who he was and all that. However, later on, then things change. Then I think he realized that he could make money off of this, and he decided to do that. And by the way, there's people that worked for him that have came out as like a whistleblower to show that he knowingly tried to hide deaths in his little cult so that he could keep the money train rolling.
It may or may not be true.
That's
but the fact
that's
is-
true. That's true. It's an
I mean,
anecdote.
you got to sort the chaff from the wheat. I mean, not everybody is capable. I mean, it takes certain people.
Okay,
with
so-
actual will.
Yeah,
why-
but so he
no.
needs to make that clear from day one, but he purposefully doesn't. He tells
But look how
people,
many people
anyone
climb
can
Everest
do this.
and die. Like Everest is littered
I
with
know.
bodies.
I agree with you. The problem
People have been
isn't
up Everest with no legs.
so with me. The problem is not that people died. The problem is that he pushed the belief that anyone can do this no matter
Yes.
what, and then
No,
they died.
right.
That's the
Yeah,
problem.
I guess it should be more
Yeah.
like not everybody can do this, but maybe you can.
Have you
Exactly.
seen,
Well, yes. And he
the-
should be
I-
selective in like he should care about whether people die and like fucking be very selective in who comes forward and who doesn't.
Well, I mean, that's up to the person too. It's their own responsibility to.
No,
I disagree in taking away his part of the responsibility because he plays a role there as well.
They have safety staff on hand whenever they're doing like their plunges. And
they do now after he got sued.
Well, he should have always had.
Do you think, Gavin? Do you think teaching 10 celebrities off the telly to do this stuff?
Yeah, but it's not.
He's been doing this stuff in his life.
On this TV show shit.
No,
He's been doing this way before there was ever a stupid TV show. Like,
I don't know. There's TV shows there.
Again, I think some people on the hardcore opposite side would say everything he's done, because there's evidence of some bullshit right now, that means everything he's ever done is bullshit. I disagree with that. There is truth to his claims. He can do shit that's amazing that people can't quite understand.
The whole breathing thing that you guys are talking about, that's just one of his main things of actually getting to your body. Once you oxygenate the blood, you can actually withstand the cold a lot. So I would go and do that too. Do a lot of deep breathing before I go out in the cold, and you stay much warmer. Your body.
Yes, that's true. But there is one thing that I think was a problem and not explaining early on is that this process to get to that point is long and arduous. It's a skill. If you take, and this happened, by the way, rich celebrity people, and you put them, and this is what he did, whether he did so on purpose or not, I don't know, but he put them in a fucking ice tank, and he explained to them the whole idea is to cut off oxygen and to breathe or whatever, or to whatever you described. And he didn't explain, he didn't explain that it takes time to learn this, and they fucking drowned. That's the problem. Is
that's a surprise.
I mean, it's like thinking you're gonna go and do David Blaine shit like first day.
I agree with you, but this is where I think I differ. Maybe I'm wrong, but like it seems like I differ in that I think that he should hold a lot of the accountability in being the expert that's training people in this shit. In what happened, I don't think it's all like personal accountability, because I think that he led them there by. He basically had a welcome sign and like I can teach you to do this because I'm amazing and watch me and you can do it too. I think that's a big aspect.
On a personal self responsibility. Like there's many people who should never climb Everest.
I agree with you.
Died and
I agree
because they're stupid and foolish, thinking they could do what other people.
I agree. So, but I'm not saying that there isn't a personal accountability aspect. I'm saying don't detract from his personal responsibility.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be self-improvement, being able to do things that you could never.
Yeah, but how long did it take him to do that? He's got a bunch of celebrities there who've been presenting children's TV programs. They 7.5
he's been doing this.
They haven't jogged a fucking mile in their life. And now he wants them to go into the ice.
I'll go look when he climbed Everest, because it was a long fucking time ago. It wasn't recently.
Well, either way, I keep getting sucked back in, as tends to always be the case. It's 11 o'clock now. I've got things I got to do, and I need to prepare. By the way, before I leave, are you planning on getting hit where you are, Gadwin, by the ice storm or the snowstorm?
Yeah, well, they're calling like 16 inches of fucking snow.
Okay, so it's going to be bad for most of the United States, from what I hear. Are you prepared?
No, I'll go tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm gonna go tomorrow and get my shit. I gotta go to the bank and do some shit and get another beat.
At least here, it's supposed to hit in the morning tomorrow, so I would do it soon.
I'm no stranger to driving in snow, dude. I've driven in like 10 inches of fucking snow and shit like that.
That's fair, but from what I've learned by people, I'm not this person, but people that know more than me, is this piece of advice. A lot of people think that having a 4-wheel drive truck or a 4-wheel drive whatever is a magic thing. If there's ice surrounding you, it doesn't matter if you have 4-wheel drive, wheel drive, you're fucked.
No, see me, I've mostly driven in snow with front-wheel drive cars, like little tiny cars.
Me too. Right.
And the best thing to do is you don't hit the brakes. The brakes are your biggest enemy when there's snow.
Right.
Use the engine to slow you down, so you shift gears or put it in like second, first.
What you're saying is true, and I completely agree with you. And this is skills at a specific point, but it does not mean that ice or whatever is not a factor. This is
I know.
if there is no ice and you're dealing with just snow, or it's a thin layer of ice, etc.
Compacted snow is very slippery too. Like, don't try turning and shit like that. I've been driving on snow since I was like able to drive. Like, we get snow all the time.
I haven't, and it scares the fuck out of me.
Oh,
I hate driving in the snow.
I used to go back from work one day. There's like 6 inches of snow on the road, and some little fucking car full of kids pulls out right in front of me. I'm like, you little fuckers. And so I fucking floored it. I went and passed them with 6 inches of snow on the ground. My fucking car started fishtailing.
So I am already.
I gotta go, man. It's 4 o'clock. Okay.
All right, dude. Take it easy.
Take care, brother. I'll argue again next time.
Okay. So I am already paranoid about snow. If I had the experience you just described, I would be so fucking paralyzed by fear I would never drive again, even if there was a slight dusting, because I would have the knowledge I almost killed some fucking children.
Well, the biggest part is knowing where you are.
Australia have pockets, so we just jump in them and travel with them. We don't have to worry. Yeah. There's no snow
you don't
here.
Get
There's
snow
no
there.
traffic.
What the fuck
so that's the solution.
No traffic problems. There's all koalas and fucking wombats, mate.
It's knowing your surroundings, like knowing like travel roads that you know.
And by the way, we have just like most things out of the problems we describe, we've had the ability to solve these problems for decades. There are certain countries that literally find ways, and there's many ways, to heat their fucking streets.
Japan
exactly.
Streets.
It's not new technology.
Solar panels on your roads, brother.
Exactly. But the point is, it's not that we don't have the money. They don't care.
Well, we have so many miles. Like, if you look at Japan, how many miles of road they have compared to the miles of road
that's true. That's fair, but it's still doable. It was just, yes, it would be expensive, but if we would just take a tiny fraction of the money we spend on the military, it'd be easily accomplished.
I see in Japan too, they have these little sprayer systems. They'll pop up where the yellow lines are. Little sprayers pop up and just spray everything and just melts all the snow.
I am
we have
amazed.
Enough solar panels in South Australia to cover residential and industrial use of energy, and we still are the highest paying state in Australia for energy from our state.
If you look how dirty solar cells are, they actually take a lot of coal. It takes a lot of coal, gold, platinum, and other rare elements to make solar cells.
Because other people pay more for it, troops.
I think what they're doing is the people are starting the business and going, hey, it costs a bunch of money to get started and shit. But they're not looking at the long term. That they're like, we're taking a risk and you're paying for that risk. They're fucking people and charging far more than they need to.
Which
just like any company.
I don't have the battery power to store the energy that I get from my solar, so it goes to them and then they give it back at a shit rate. That's what's why.
Sounds about right.
We're on the brink of fusion, though. They got another fusion.
But we're not going to see the benefit, Gads, as
bullshit. AI just solved 3 of those super hard mathematical problems that nobody's ever been able to solve, and just back to back. So AI is figuring shit out.
Fusion works, but you and I aren't going to see the benefit.
So I agree and disagree. So I agree the AI is making insane strides. However, we have another thing to contend with. And that is the real power here. And that's the big interest, elite people. And they are going to do everything they can, like cancer research doing so great. They're going to fight it because it hurts their profits. They're going to fight all of this.
So we need fusion, basically just to power their data centers. Like if we have basically unlimited energy, like we can provide with solar. Or not solar,
but there's you're right, but there's a dilemma here.
Just to use it, you know.
That's true. So the dilemma is if they just let it out and it's open source, so to speak, then it solves a bunch of things and they lose a whole lot of the power that they hold over people. They're not going to let that happen.
Most of the fusion test reactors are in Europe, not America.
The problem
that's
is
a good thing.
Controlled by people that can afford it and all that shit. Solar is the best thing because
solar is just as toxic as burning coal power plants.
No,
like
once you own it, though, you're no longer under their
solar
power.
cells are only good for like 15 years, and then you got to replace them. Their efficiency rate's only about 27%.
Depends on the inverter, and it's 90 until no, it goes down from 90 though.
Their efficiency, and then if it's cloudy out, you're not making much
The thing
energy. If it's
is,
snowing,
it's
you're
still-
not making energy.
It's still no moving parts. 20 years is a long time, Gad.
Oh, see, all the farms here, they have the articulating ones that follow the sun. So there's major big solar farms around here.
Oh, they're cool too, and they're moving parts then. But you also
Yeah.
want to have wind as well, ideally, as the thing to fill in the
Turbines, not
gaps.
windmills, as Trump would call them.
Well,
Windmills,
and
make a flower.
an alternative is all I mean there. It's still not. It's still better than fusion.
Look into the
Because fusion will
ST40
be
program. It's in
totally
France.
controlled by the government or whatever for a century.
Go look at the fusion reaction they're getting. They're actually getting more energy out than they're putting in. We're actually
I'm
on the
glad.
precipice.
I'm hoping that it
Because
goes
all the
quicker,
fusion
but it's
reactors
still
we
gonna be a
have
long
right
way
now
before it's a
are
benefit
test
for the
reactors.
majority for free.
They're test reactors. That's not free. You still got to make the deuterium and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not free. It's not free. Like
Yes.
everybody is always this free shit. Like these programs have costed billions of dollars. They're test reactors that take many scientists that got to be paid to do the research. They got to make the deuterium. They need the other basically, and you
No
saw
one's
seawater.
disputing any of that, buddy. No one.
But it's still going to have
Absolutely
costs. But
understand.
it'd be
That's not what I
tremendous
meant by
amounts
when I said
of power. But then you said like nuclear earlier. Nuclear is actually detrimental for the climate as well. The nuclear power plants put out tons of hot water. Like the hot water in France coming out of their reactors was causing the whole rivers to heat up because they're putting out so much hot water.
The whole process is to make hot water, though, to turn it into steam.
I know, but the byproduct coming out is also hot water. It's
Okay,
gonna heat up the
guys,
whole
guys, we're
environment around it.
gonna have to deal with this particular one at another time because I am the poster child for
Fair enough, you're all
ADHD, and I've said over and over, and I mean it when I say it, and I'm like, guys, I've got to roll. But then my ADHD, like you'll say something, and I'm like, hey, that's interesting, and then my brain gets caught off like a squirrel, and then I can't fucking like handle shit. So I've got to go.
Go fap one off, get some post nut clarity.
Post nut clarity is where it's at. But it was fun as usual, guys. I will see you next week if I still have power.
Or
Take it
something
easy.
doesn't come up.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Fun, guys.
Later.
Thanks.